stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes and Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 12 o'clock on Tuesday, the 23rd of June. I'm Tom Harwood.
And I'm Emily Carver. Well, could Labour's leadership race be heading for a coronation, or will there be a contest? Yes, Andy Burnham may be the clear front-runner, but senior Labour figures are considering whether to throw their own hats into the ring.
Will Al Carnes go for it, the former Armed Forces Minister, or even Darren Jones, the Chief Secretary of the Prime Minister? Will someone challenge Andy Burnham, if only so we can find out what the next Prime Minister believes?
Elsewhere, Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband Peter Murrell is jailed for more than 5 years after embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP to spend on cars, jewellery and other luxury items. We'll have the latest.
Well, Peter Murrell has said he will pay back all of the money he embezzled. His defence lawyer in court today saying the humiliation he feels will outlast any sentence he received, as the judge in court described his embezzlement as a calculated crime of dishonesty.
Rare red warnings are issued as temperatures could hit 40 degrees Celsius this week, but overnight, did you see there were heavy, dramatic, spectacular thunderstorms? And in Bristol, a family home was even set on fire by a lightning strike.
Elsewhere, a new battle over who controls the news you see online. Labour is considering plans to push BBC News and other quote-unquote trusted outlets higher up in your social media feed.
And a National Portrait Gallery exhibit has been pulled after claims it wrongly accused Winston Churchill of deliberately starving millions of people during the Bengal famine.
That electric storm was something else last night.
Oh my goodness, yeah, woke up, had a little look, felt the room tremble, saw the light flashing through the curtains when they opened them a little bit, and then I went back to sleep.
I would be very interested to know if anyone watching got any pictures, if we've got any people watching or listening in London and the South East and saw this remarkable storm. I've seen some amazing pictures on Twitter. But do get in contact. Tweet us at GB News, at Carver Emily, at Tom HFH, and we'd love to see your pictures.
Absolutely. Or I think you can still email gbviews@gbnews.uk as well if you prefer doing that. If you prefer doing that.
That's an email address I've not heard in a long time.
Yes, because I don't think you can attach them to your say.
No. Or maybe describe with words at gbnews.com.
Send us a voice note. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, the politics. Andy Burnham, Team Burnham, are apparently very miffed indeed that if he does go uncontested, the Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who's resigned, is not going to stay on till September. He's going to say, ta-ra, you deal with it now, because Andy Burnham and his team want him to have the whole summer to try and prepare, to put a few policies in place, to hit the ground running come the new season, come the new term of Parliament. But Keir Starmer's thinking, absolutely not, apparently.
Well, I mean, it stands to reason.
I'm not going to stand around.
I mean, why be a lame duck for that long?
Yeah.
I mean, it must be the most
Embarrassing.
frustrating thing to be Prime Minister, but no one listens to a thing that you say because they know that you're not going to be there to implement anything that you say. I mean, being Prime Minister, living in number 10, but not really being able to do anything must be incredibly frustrating for Keir Starmer over these weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, with those selfies that were taken yesterday, I will show you them in a bit, the selfies with Andy Burnham there, with a cabal of female MPs behind him, and
Rachel
then every single
Reeves
person
lives on Downing Street. She did not come downstairs to clap Keir Starmer out of office. There were a throng of staff and supporters of Keir Starmer standing literally outside Rachel Reeves' house, number 11 Downing Street, and she didn't go there, but she was front and centre of Andy Burnham's picture.
I mean, he might have been the world's most unpopular Prime Minister, but your own colleagues... Oh, that's tough to watch. That's tough
Politics.
to watch. He probably might have had a large glass of red wine last night if he does drink. I don't even know. Anyway, gbnews.com/USA. Do get in touch. Send us the pics of the lightning if it did strike near where you are. But let's get to the headlines with Tatiana.
Thank you very much and good afternoon. The top stories. Peter Murrell has been sentenced to 5 years after he admitted to embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP. The party's former chief executive used the funds to buy goods ranging from cars to kitchenware and toiletries between 2010 and 2022. Judge Lord Young says Murrell's actions amount to a significant breach of trust. An SNP spokesperson said that Mr Murrell's jail sentence would offer significant closure to party members. Among his purchases was a motorhome worth almost £125,000, which was seized 3 years later from his mother's house with just 4 miles on the clock. A lawyer for former First Minister Nicola Sturgeon says she has been let down by her estranged husband and remains angry, hurt and distressed. Andy Burnham is inching ever closer to being crowned as leader of the Labour Party and the Prime Minister. The so-called King of the North could be handed the keys to number 10 in just 3 weeks. Now, if Andy Burnham is successful in his bid to take over from Sir Keir Starmer, he'll be our 7th Prime Minister in just 10 years. Opposition Assistant Whip Katie Lamb spoke to GB News Breakfast.
I think it's fascinating that the Labour Party is trying to portray Andy Burnham as this, fresh face, this new start. He was first elected as an MP in 2001. When Andy Burnham first came to Parliament, I was in primary school. He is an establishment Labour man through and through. He's going to inherit exactly the same group of MPs that supported all of Starmer's worst ideas and pushed him to go even further. There's no way that he can do a better job of running this country because the problem, in the end, is the Labour Party.
Reform UK leader Nigel Farage spoke to GB News' Christopher Hope about his thoughts on Andy Burnham.
Boris Johnson as Mayor of London, enormously popular. Andy Burnham, Mayor of Manchester, enormously popular. Why? Because mayors fulfil a civic role. They cut ribbons. They, host visiting film stars. Politicians have to take positions. We at the moment have almost no idea where this man stands on anything. He's flipped and flopped in the last month more than Keir Starmer has in the last 2 years. So, yes, it looks like a triumphant entry, but we'll see.
Overnight storms in southeast England have caused floods, fires and disruption to Heathrow's rail services. Pictures seen here show a fire starting on the roof of a house due to the lightning. In Bristol, there were no reported injuries. In London, firefighters have taken about 400 calls and at least 2 house fires are suspected to have been triggered by lightning strikes. Meanwhile, the Met Office has issued a red warning for extreme heat for parts of England and Wales from 9 a.m. tomorrow until 9 p.m. on Thursday. And several schools across England and Wales have announced that they'll be closing or finish early to protect students against extreme heat later this week. Elsewhere, the first drug that can delay the onset of type 1 diabetes is being made available on the NHS in England and Wales. Teplizumab is a form of immunotherapy that can give people 3 extra years before they develop symptoms and need lifelong insulin treatment. The NHS medicines body describes its decision as genuinely exciting, with hundreds of children and young people likely to benefit each year. Type 1 diabetes can develop at any time, but the most common age of diagnosis is in the early teenage years. And England take on Ghana tonight in the World Cup. England fans are saying they're allowing themselves to be optimistic for once ahead of that second World Cup game. The Three Lions secured a statement 4-2 victory over Croatia and Dallas in their tournament opener, leaving many fans confident of the team's chances in the competition. England manager Thomas Tuchel has spoken before the game.
Everyone is available. Everyone was in training. We had big influence from the substitutes, which we really appreciated, and it's just to prove how everyone buys into the idea.
And those are the latest headlines for now. More from me in half an hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are, online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player, and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 9 minutes past 12. You're with me, Emily, and Tom, of course. Now, is there anyone with the bottle to run against Andy Burnham?
Well, Labour MPs, including former Armed Forces Minister Al Carnes and the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, yes, he still is Prime Minister, Darren Jones, are reportedly now considering whether to throw their hats into the ring.
Yes, they've only got 3 weeks to decide. Otherwise, it will be a coronation for Mr Burnham, who was only sworn into Parliament yesterday afternoon. I will say, Tom, we've had a few messages saying, stop calling it a coronation. He isn't a king.
But it's the typical political metaphor.
What else could we use? What other term could we use?
We always use these sorts of metaphors. I think it's completely fine. It's like.
They don't like King of the North either, which I also think is rather annoying.
I don't like King of the North because it's technically King in the North.
I know.
That's the correct
But King of the
moniker.
North runs off the tongue better, doesn't it?
But
Flows
it's also
off the tongue.
slightly sarcastic, which so I think you can say it in a slightly joking way,
King
or
of the
indeed in an endearing way as well. I mean, it works for both sides.
Yes, well, shall we speak to our political editor, Christopher Hope, to see what the latest is? Chris, have you heard anything? Is there anyone in the Labour Party who is actually going to contest this man, Andy Burnham?
No, the two you mentioned there, Emily, and morning, Tom, from Downing Street, where it is boiling hot here, let me tell you, is yes, that's what we know so far. Al Carnes might go for it, the Armed Forces Minister formerly. And also Darren Jones, maybe, the Chief Secretary to the Prime Minister, the guy who does stuff for the Prime Minister in Whitehall. Both those two individuals need more than 81 MPs, though, to find the support to stand. And can they get that when, of course, increasingly numbers are declaring for Andy Burnham, notably Nick Thomas-Symonds, an ally of Keir Starmer, on this morning's GB News breakfast show. Already there's a debate starting about the defence budget. Now, the commitment from the government, if you remember, that was why, of course, John Healey quit as Defence Secretary and Mr Carnes. The commitment is to announce that by the 7th of July, which is the date of the NATO summit in Ankara. But already is reporting on the Telegraph's website that, in fact, allies of Andy Burnham are saying that there's no way they will allow Keir Starmer and his team to announce a huge amount of spending, tying the government to a spending programme they haven't signed off on. So already that's the first battle of this transition of power, as we expect, to Andy Burnham. Even if there's a challenge, we still expect Andy Burnham to win, but a challenge might be a good thing to avoid us talking about the word coronation. Now, what coronation means in politics terms is no one challenges the person getting the job. They get it as if they're born into it. That can't happen. We live in a democracy, but this guy who might get this role, Andy Burnham, wasn't an MP till last Thursday, didn't stand on the manifesto in July 2024, and there's vast areas, indeed swathes of policy we know very little about, and it's important that comes out before he becomes Prime Minister. But I was talking to a senior figure, senior Labour peer this morning, and they were saying, why would we do that? It may make sense to do it, but why would we want to have a bloodletting and undermine Andy Burnham before he becomes Prime Minister? Anyway, today is Brexit Day, 10 years since the leaving the European Union, and who else but to speak to, but of course Nigel Farage, Mr Brexit, who spent virtually all of his political career fighting for that outcome in 2016. And he spoke to me earlier. I asked him particularly first about Andy Burnham and if he thinks and is worried about what might be called a Burnham bounce in the polls. Here's what he told me.
Now, we're there at 30. We're still 9 to 10 points ahead of all the others. It's not bad.
That could close, though. I mean, there'll be a Burnham bounce, won't there, pretty certainly?
I think there'll be a short-term Burnham bounce. I don't see a big Burnham bounce. Maybe I'm wrong. But look, this has to be put to the public.
So a short-term burn and bounce forecast by Nigel Farage. What that means is that 10-point lead that Reform have had for the best part of 6 months to 8 months, that might be eaten into, and even you might see Labour overtaking Reform, and that could, of course, draw Labour MPs into the false sense of security and think, hang on, let's have an election, let's go early, let's try and spike the guns of our enemies, the Tories and Reform and other parties too. So you'll hear more and more chat about this legitimacy, should there be an election or not. And of course, the issue of the burn and bounce is probably coming in the polls. I also use the opportunity to ask Nigel Farage about Brexit and rejoining the European Union. We know that polls say apparently most people now want to rejoin the European Union, but Nigel Farage thinks when people look at the detail, that won't happen. Here's what he told me earlier.
Brexit will not be overturned.
It won't be.
No.
Guaranteed. That's a Farage guarantee.
If Andy Burnham says to the country at the next election, I'm going to take you back into the EU, he will not win a single seat in the north of England. Simple as. Simple as.
So it can be overturned, but he won't do it for political reasons.
It's politically impossible to overturn it. But the Tories didn't take us away from it enough, as we just explained about legislation, which means we're now aping EU legislation. And so we're economically tying ourselves again closely to the most failing economic part of the world. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
What do you say to those, finally, who want a second referendum? Because that's how you do the overturning.
You know, that is now a very small minority view. Yeah. I don't think the country wants to go through the agonies.
But polling wants people to rejoin, doesn't it? That's what.
Until you have the arguments. You know, until you have the arguments.
Cost us billions.
Yeah. Well, what would it cost us to join? 20 billion a year, a commitment to join the euro? Forget it.
20 billion a year and joining the euro. Imagine having that debate in today's Straitened Times. Back to you both.
Well, exactly. Christopher Hope, thank you very much indeed, our political editor. We'll catch you later. Shall we speak to Dan Hodges, the columnist at the Mail on Sunday, because he has a very interesting column, in fact, in the Mail today. Thanks, Dan, for joining us. Essentially, what you're saying is that Team Burnham is absolutely furious that potentially Andy Burnham will be Prime Minister in 3.5 weeks without having had barely any time to sort of set up what he's actually going to do.
Well, what's actually happening is the reality is obviously we saw Keir Starmer's emotional sort of resignation speech in Downing Street yesterday, in which Keir Starmer spoke a lot about, you know, placing the national interest first. But the reality is Keir Starmer, you know, as we speak, is sitting in Downing Street, spitting blood at what he sees is the betrayal committed by his ministers, his members of parliament, and by Andy Burnham. And frankly, he wants to spend the next few weeks doing as much as he can to wreak revenge on Andy Burnham and frankly, to sort of nobble him before he even enters Downing Street, which is why, you know, I think Chris was just alluding to that. Obviously, we've got the issue today where Starmer is insistent on pushing ahead with the defence investment plan, even though Andy Burnham is making clear, look, I don't want you to do that, because that's obviously something I'm going to have to look at and sit down and take some time to consider when I become Prime Minister. So, and I think this is the narrative we're going to be seeing playing out over the next 2 or 3 weeks, just with Keir Starmer doing everything he can to throw as many obstacles as he can in Andy Burnham's way.
Now, Dan, you were one of the first people to pick up upon the chaos in Keir Starmer's Downing Street, barely days into his own premiership. Are you sensing the same sort of chaos around Andy Burnham? Why does he need so much time to prepare? Surely he's been preparing for this for months, if not years.
Well, it's not so much a sense of chaos. It's just the reality is obviously Andy Burnham and Burnham's team were obviously have been focused over the last month on, you know, securing his victory in Makerfield. And they did think they would have, frankly, more time to prepare, because my understanding is there were some sort of behind the scenes negotiations taking place with, with Keir Starmer over the last couple of weeks. And the feeling was, and the mood was, Keir Starmer was moving towards the idea of agreeing to sign up to what was called the September strategy. So agreeing to stay on in Downing Street to allow whoever it was, but obviously primarily it looked like being Andy Burnham, to take time to put their team together, to put their policy programme in place, and then hand over in September in time for Labour Party conference. But according to people I've been speaking to, that plan went out the window on Friday when Keir Starmer was presented with an ultimatum by a number of ministers that he had previously regarded as loyal, who was saying to him, "You've got to announce your resignation now." And according to the reports I received, he was volcanic. His anger was volcanic in response to that.
Really?
Which is why over the weekend he suddenly took the decision, no, screw the lot of them. If there's not going to be a contest, and I obviously don't think there's going to be a contest, I'm gone in 3 weeks, and the rest of you can get on and good luck to you.
Well, fair enough in a way, but yes, a man who talks about the national interest, perhaps not the best thing for the national interest. But Dan, just lastly, who would Andy Burnham's pick as Chancellor be? There's lots of rumour in the papers today.
Yeah, I'm not sure. The one thing I do think, and this is a part of the narrative that hasn't really developed yet, but I think will over the coming days, obviously, if, as we expect, Andy Burnham becomes Prime Minister, then there is going to be discussion within the Labour Party that yet again they've gone for another man. You know, this will be, what is it, over 100 years of the Labour Party, and they've still gone for another man. I think the pressure on Andy Burnham to fill, in that scenario, fill the major offices of state with women is going to be significant, or certainly that's my understanding of how they're looking at things within his team. So I can't answer you because I don't actually know.
Fair enough, you don't know.
I am not convinced by the Ed Miliband for Chancellor.
Well, that's the fear.
Stuff. I don't see him sacking a senior woman and putting a man in such a senior role. And if I had to bet, I would be surprised if we didn't see all of the major, the big four offices of state, including possibly defence, being filled with women. That's just the one thing.
How ridiculous. Well, OK, Dan Hodges. So we could have an all-female cabinet, or at least those top jobs. Very interesting. Dan Hodges, columnist at Mail on Sunday. So we could see Angela Rayner as our Chancellor, Tom?
Well, she hasn't yet declared for Andy Burnham. That's an interesting point.
It'd be nice if we had someone who'd, run a business, maybe employed someone in the private sector. That might be nice.
The Labour
little bit of experience.
Does seem to have a real problem with being able to elect women. I mean, in order to have female MPs, they had to introduce all women shortlists.
Yeah, pathetic.
And I think part of the reason why they've never elected a female leader of the Labour Party might be something to do with the all-women shortlists. Because if you're a woman MP in the Labour Party, you likely got in only on an all-women shortlist. Maybe it's subliminal, but there will be a slight feeling amongst your colleagues. Did you get here on merit, or did you get here because you were through a sort of promoting scheme?
It could be that, or it could be that actually the left is more misogynistic than you think.
Well, it is true to say
unions,
it's not just that no woman has ever won a Labour leadership contest, it's that no woman has ever finished above a man in a Labour leadership contest.
I mean, the other argument, maybe the women are all rubbish. I don't know. Anyway, we've got some very serious breaking news to bring you. A murder investigation has been launched after the body of a missing 14-year-old girl was found in South Wales. Well, the teenager, named only as Lily by Gwent Police, was discovered in the Dyffryn Park area of Blaena at around 10:10 on Monday. We'll bring you the latest on that when we get it, when we've got more details on that murder investigation now launched. Well, in other news now, Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband, Peter Murrell, has been sentenced to 5 years and 3 months in prison after he admitted to embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP. Yes, the party's former chief executive used the funds to buy goods ranging from cars to kitchenware to jewellery to camper vans to toiletries between 2010 and 2022. Well, let's speak to our national reporter, Will Godley, for more on this. Will, a significant time behind bars.
Absolutely. Tom, Emily, good afternoon to you from Edinburgh High Court, where this afternoon politicians and political parties from across the spectrum here in Scotland have been reacting to this sentence. The SNP saying this sentence will offer significant closure to party members, of course, many of whom who feel betrayed and angry that Peter Murrell stole money from their donations to fund his lavish lifestyle. Labour, the Scottish Labour saying there are still serious questions that remain unanswered, and the Scottish Tories asking the question this afternoon, how could he get away with his brazen and large-scale crime spree for so many years? Now, his embezzlement lasted for a 12-year period from 2010 to 2022, and as you say, the list of what he bought with the money he stole from the SNP is incredibly long, and it ranges in value from things like £8.80 spatulas to a £124,000 motorhome. Also buying things like cars, putting £57,000 towards a Jaguar, and also things like 2 fountain pens for £1,400 and salt and pepper shakers for £2,600. A judge in court today saying he was able to circumvent the checks and procedures in place to prevent this kind of embezzlement from happening by tricking the accounting and the accounts. He was putting things down like a lawnmower, £3,000 lawnmower, as legal fees, and a £3,500 wine coaster as legal expenses, leadership expenses. Well, his defence lawyer in court today trying to mitigate some of his sentence, saying that Peter Murrell has expressed feelings of guilt and remorse, and says he has been overwhelmed with embarrassment and shame, and that his humiliation will outlast any sentence. Well, the judge today saying that this is a significant breach of trust, and his embezzlement a calculated crime of dishonesty, and saying this sentence, this 5-year, 3-month sentence, will act as a deterrent sentence. Well, Peter Murrell has said he will pay back the money, but the big question today is what was his motive? No real answers as to why he embezzled so much.
Yeah, I'd really like to know that. I mean, the list of products he bought sounds like someone with a shopping addiction, or just a very strong sense of entitlement. Anyway, Will Godley, thank you very much indeed. We'll catch up with you later. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News.
Yes, lots more still to come on today's programme. A former Labour candidate is among 3 brothers convicted of grooming gang offences in Sheffield.
Shocking, but after the break. Overnight, thunderstorms and lightning strikes swept across large parts of the country, and in Bristol, one home was even left ablaze after being struck by lightning. We'll be there live.
All of that and more to come. You're with GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Harwood. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The late edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
so get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, late edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, late edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's coming up to 12:30, and it's time for the Great British Giveaway now. It's the final week to see how you could win a massive £76,543.21 in tax-free cash to spend this summer. It's an incredible amount of money that could be yours, so don't miss out. Here's Hayley Sparks telling you how to win.
Time is ticking on your chance to win big this summer, as there are just 3 days left to enter. There's an incredible £76,543.21 in tax-free cash to be won. Cash to spend however you like, which means you really could be enjoying the 5-star treatment this summer. Cheers! All that cash could take you on the trip of a lifetime, or just enable you to relax in the knowledge that the rest of the year is on us. Make sure you don't miss out, as lines close at 4 p.m. on Friday.
For a chance to win £76,543.21 in tax-free cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, is it fair to say, Tom, that you were... They're talking about Nigel Farage being Mr Brexit, but you were Mr Brexit Junior, weren't you? 10 years ago?
10 years ago, I ran an organisation called Students for Britain. It was the student wing of the Vote Leave campaign. We had chapters in, I think, 55 universities and colleges across the country. We did sort of campaign. We produced our own literature, beer mats. We even produced branded condoms that said it's riskier to stay in and better off... I know, what else? What else
I'm not going to
did
ask
it
you
say?
the obvious
question. The safer choice. Vote Leave, the safer choice.
I hope they worked.
I wouldn't know.
But this is the sort of thing that appeals to students. Contraception.
Well, this is one of the remarkable things about the Brexit campaign. I found it incredibly good-natured. Everyone was genuinely interested. It wasn't a hostile thing. All of the nastiness, all of the bitterness that I've seen came after the referendum results. After the referendum results, the country went insane.
Because I remember it. It was foul, wasn't it? I remember being on a campus at that time, and it was people were quite aggy about it. Maybe you were just in a more tolerant area of the country.
I was in the northeast of England, so definitely.
You know, how did the northeast of England vote?
Overwhelmingly to leave.
Yeah, perhaps not in London, where I was.
Yeah, okay, maybe it was different in London. I don't know. I think I did a street stall in Cambridge, though, in Market Ward. Market Ward, Cambridge, was the single highest Remain voting ward in the entire country.
But lots of graduates.
But it was all quite good-natured. I think people took it as an intellectual exercise in the round and sort of were willing to talk about the arguments. That was my experience,
I
anyway.
remember people just being called racist and bigoted and stupid for even thinking about voting for Brexit.
I think, from my experience, most of that came after the vote.
Yeah.
And I think what seemed to be extraordinary is I have never seen a single person wave an EU flag in this country until the referendum. I'd never seen a single person wear a silly beret in this country with the stars on it. You know, the people sort of grew into a European identity after the referendum.
That they'd never had before.
That they'd never had before.
Yeah.
Never. And I think it's quite a curious thing that this identity and this animosity grew after the vote, particularly 2017, 2018, I mean, a crescendo in 2019 when it seemed like the country was just tearing itself apart over this stuff. But that all built, from my experience at least, after the referendum.
Well, there's still that plonker who won't let it go. That plonker is Steve Bray, who was playing out Ode to Joy yesterday for Keir Starmer's resignation speech. Now, if you've been to Westminster, you know, in the past 10 years, you would have noticed this man. He is so annoying.
But also, if you've tried to
He won't let it go. He won't let it go.
If you tried to listen to Rishi Sunak announcing the election or resigning as Prime Minister, Keir Starmer resigning, you can barely hear them because he's got his sound system out and he plays. I don't think anyone has a problem with normal political jostling, people shouting a bit, being a bit rowdy. I think I have a massive problem with people bringing massive boom boxes and just pressing a button. Number one, it's lazy, and number two, it drowns out everything else. I mean, if you want to heckle someone, use your voice.
Anyway, we've got some breaking news to bring you. The Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has agreed with Cabinet Secretary Dame Antonia Romeo that civil service access talks can take place with prospective candidates to succeed him. OK, so he's allowed Andy Burnham potentially to talk to civil service to try and get things in order?
This is really significant.
Is that the idea here?
This happens during general election campaigns when the opposition party is often invited in to speak to the civil service about how they might run were they to win. Because unlike the United States of America, where they have long sort of transition periods and there's the election, but the inauguration of the president isn't for 3 or 4 months later. I mean, it really is day one, you are elected, you go in. So these transition talks are very important.
Well, if he can get to grips with the civil service, that will be better than most of our Prime Ministers. But we await to see. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show, but we're going to show you the latest news headlines now.
Good afternoon. The top stories. A murder investigation has been launched after the body of a missing 14-year-old girl was found in South Wales. The teenager, named only as Lily by Gwent Police, was discovered in the Dutherham Park area of Blaenau at around 10:10 on Monday evening. More on this breaking story as we get it. Elsewhere, Peter Murrell is sentenced to 5 years after he admitted to embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP. The party's former chief executive used the funds to buy goods ranging from cars to kitchenware and toiletries between 2010 and 2022. Overnight storms in southeast England have caused floods, fires and disruption to Heathrow's rail services. Pictures seen here show a fire starting on the roof of a house due to the lightning in Bristol. Meanwhile, the Met Office has issued a rare red warning for extreme heat for parts of England and Wales from 9 a.m. tomorrow until 9 p.m. on Thursday. And England take on Ghana in the World Cup tonight. England fans saying they're allowing themselves to be optimistic for once ahead of the game. The Three Lions secured a statement 4-2 victory over Croatia in Dallas in their tournament opener, leaving many fans confident of the team's chances in the competition. Those are the latest headlines for now. More from me in half an hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Widespread sunny skies are expected for many of us today. Hot as well, widely into the mid-30s, but it's not just about the temperatures, it's about the humidity, which will be extraordinarily high for the UK. High pressure currently sitting near the UK, helping this heat to build across many parts of the country. It's going to be a very warm day for Scotland and Northern Ireland, with sunny skies for many. Just some outbreaks of rain clearing the far north and northwest. 1 or 2 showers could pop up into the afternoon. However, for much of the UK, it's clear blue skies and temperatures rising quickly through the day. A hotter day compared with Monday. We're talking about fairly widely into mid-30s, up to 36, perhaps 37 in a spot or two. Scotland, though, for the far north and northwest, it's a cooler day compared with elsewhere. A lot more cloud here and some showers. 1 or 2 showers perhaps popping up for the south of Scotland, but here temperatures into the mid-20s, so in some places it's certainly a warmer day compared with Monday. But we're not seeing those extreme values in Scotland and Northern Ireland that we're seeing across many parts of England and Wales. And like I say, it's not just about the daytime high temperatures, it's about the humidity, which means that overnight it's going to feel very oppressive. And in some ways that's more important because buildings will struggle to cool down. It'll be very difficult for sleeping. A lot of clear skies overnight, but widely temperatures staying at 22 or 23 Celsius for many parts of England and Wales. Fresher for Scotland and Northern Ireland, but still a warm start on Wednesday for many of us. It's going to be an even hotter day, certainly across many parts of England and Wales. A little cooler down the eastern coast of England, where we've got a breeze from the North Sea, so that's going to limit temperatures for eastern England, but further west across England and Wales, mid to possibly high 30s.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good afternoon. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. On the M62 eastbound in Kirklees, a lane is closed between junctions 26 and 27 due to a broken down vehicle. Normal traffic is expected shortly after 1. The M4 spur southbound in Greater London has 15-minute delays between junctions 4 and 4A. In Portsmouth, a lane on the M275 southbound is closed. Avoid the M60 clockwise at junction 13 in Salford and the A1 northbound in Lincolnshire, where incidents have caused full lane closures. And on the trains, major disruption continues between London St Pancras International and Bedford. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's now 20 to 1.
Yes, this is quite shocking, actually. A former Labour candidate is among 3 brothers who have been convicted of grooming gang offences in Sheffield. Ammar, Kamar and Kamran Ilyas have been convicted of child sex abuse offences against 5 victims.
Well, we're joined by GB News' national reporter Charlie Peters for more on this. Charlie.
Well, we can exclusively reveal today that Ammar Ilyas, who was jailed yesterday for 27 years, 2 consecutive sentences of child rape leading to that significant sentence. Not only can we say that he is on the run in Pakistan, but also we can reveal that he ran for the Labour Party in 2016 as a councillor for Sheffield City Council. He was unsuccessful in that race, but remained a party activist a few years later, being described by the Corbyn-backing Momentum Group as a comrade after he was involved in a knife attack, with a man called Basan Khan being jailed for 2.5 years for that attack. Now, Ammar Ilyas, he worked as a taxi driver and he was also a youth worker in Sheffield, working for a group called Mums United. Now, there's no suggestion whatsoever that the Labour Party, Momentum or Mums United were aware of his grooming gang offending with alongside his brothers Kamar and Kamran that took place about 20 years ago in various regions of Sheffield, some links to Rotherham as well. But it will no doubt be a cause of great concern to many that a man who was nicknamed Killer Ammar Ilyas, who used an imitation firearm to threaten his victims, who humiliated them and also threatened them with gang abuse with others, including his friends as well. It'll be concerning to those that he went on to become a politician, a community activist, and also a youth worker as well. I can also tell you that the National Crime Agency, who successfully led this operation into Ammar, Kamran and Kamar, they did make a safeguarding disclosure to the local council when their officers discovered that he had been a youth worker, but no offences were found to be linked to that work that he had conducted. So his brothers have got 10 years and 3 years respectively. Those are the two men on the left of your screen. On the right is Ammar Ilyas. He was given that 27-year sentence. We heard from the judge, Mr. Justice Hampton, yesterday, Peter Hampton, who said, "I will deal with him," referring to Ammar, when he is brought here in front of him, because he is going to look forward to dealing with this case when the National Crime Agency look to capture and recover Ammar Ilyas. They said that, of course, an arrest warrant remains outstanding for him. He fled the country while on court bail before his trial started in September of 2025. We have waited a long time to bring you these details. We've been across his background and his wider offending for a long time, but we haven't been able to say anything until the trial of his brothers was concluded earlier this year. We waited until they were all sentenced together yesterday to share all of this information at once. So a lot of concern. He's still on the run. And also, Emily and Tom, we did hear from the 5 victims in this case. One of them actually delivered a personal impact statement to Sheffield Crown Court yesterday, which was extremely moving, talking about how she had been serving a lifelong sentence, but had not been prevented from achieving truth, justice and accountability yesterday.
Just quickly, Charlie, do we know if he's in the country or not?
We know he's in Pakistan.
Wow.
We know that he is in Pakistan, where he fled in September of 2025. I attended some parts of this trial, his opening, for example, last year, when he was not in the dock and reporting restrictions were put down, but also an explanation was made. He's regularly said, Tom and Emily, that the reason he can't be back in Britain facing justice is due to health issues. We heard some more of that yesterday from his barrister, but the judge said that he had taken the coward's way out and that it was cowardly for him to be hiding in Pakistan.
And we don't have an extradition treaty with Pakistan.
We don't, and there has been much debate over how we manage that relationship with Islamabad and London in terms of the movement of grooming gang offenders.
Yeah.
We revealed last year, probably the most astonishing story we've done on grooming gangs, that the Pakistani government were requesting we allow their airline to return to the United Kingdom, Pakistani International Airlines.
An unsafe airline.
An unsafe airline, which has recently recovered its licence. In exchange, they would then allow the deportation of grooming gang offenders from England back to Pakistan to be achieved. When it comes to the return of offenders, that is a very delicate operation, but the National Crime Agency say that they are making efforts on that, and anyone with any information about Ammar Ilyas and his whereabouts can get in contact with them.
Interesting, given that Pakistan is a country we send international aid to, given that Pakistan is a country we give a lot of visas to, which provide remittances to that country.
Absolutely.
Questions to be asked there. Charlie, thank you very much indeed.
Many questions indeed.
Yeah, disgusting story. Thank you, Charlie. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up. Yes, a National Portrait Gallery exhibit, we reported on this last week actually, has been pulled after claims it wrongly accused Winston Churchill of deliberately starving millions during the Bengal famine.
Well, now, if you're in search of some holiday sunshine, perhaps not quite as far as Bengal, here's the weather in Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
The extreme heat at the moment is not confined to the UK. Many parts of Europe, especially France, seeing exceptionally high temperatures during the next few days. It's more typical temperatures for Greece, along with a few showers, but for Italy, we're up into the mid to high 30s, and across many parts of Spain. Into France, we're talking about the low 40s away from coastal parts. And here's the temperature trend for Paris, finally turning cooler by the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Became the norm. Friends just became family, and
You know, I just kind of found my love in the streets, really.
And then did that then lead to stuff with knives?
Yeah, so I was stabbed by 15, and then my best friend passed away in my arms from a stab to the heart. So I'd already had quite a experience with knife crime at that point.
I think in life it's important to give people a second chance, and especially when you come back and you were using this to such a positive thing, and actually, and you know your kits already, as you say, have saved several lives, and hopefully it's not even about the saving of lives in that sense, is it? It's if you can prevent people from getting in the situation you were in the first place.
This is where education's important.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Crew of injured and wounded veterans and serving personnel have completed a historic sailing expedition around the UK, carrying the Invictus Games flag.
Yes, it's called the Full Circle Sailing Expedition, and it embarked on a momentous 12-week journey, having sailed 2,000 miles around the UK to complete the whole full circle.
Well, it supported more than 500 injured veterans, and the charity is raising £300,000 to fund their mission to support veterans right across the nation.
Everybody on that boat has a part to play. It's, you know, everybody gets involved in safely moving that boat from A to B, and like you said, it's that camaraderie and being a part of a team, and you could say, to some extent, having that mission.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Come here, is it a love for the royal family, for the kind of the British pageantry? What is it?
You know what, both of those things. I do have a love for the British royal family. I have been royal watching since I was in the 5th grade. That was a long time ago. I watched Indian Style when Lady Di married then Prince Charles, and now he's the king. And I mean, I just love the parade troops, all of that. Oh my gosh, it's absolutely amazing.
Which royals do you think you're most looking forward to seeing as that procession comes down the mall a little bit later?
King. I want to see the king. I love seeing the king and the queen because I'm of that era, actually. The Prince Charles, King Charles era. So I always look forward to seeing the king. But of course, the Prince and Princess of Wales.
Well, I think you're going to have a very easy job spotting you in the crowd.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's coming up to 10 to 1. Now, an installation of Winston Churchill at the National Portrait Gallery has been removed over his reported role in the 1943 Bengal famine, in which an estimated 3 million people died.
Yes, so basically the artist Helen Cammack was forced to withdraw her own 40-minute video display from the gallery after 10 months because she accused Churchill of willful starvation en masse.
But of course, biographers and historians have called the allegation a foul and vile, ideologically motivated rant and a barefaced lie.
Well, joining us now is Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum, Philip Kisley. I mean, should she have had the right to, show this exhibition? People don't have to agree.
Well, people don't have to agree, but I think we probably have to agree on basics like basic truth and lies. And I think this is, the Bengal famine of 1943 was caused by a typhoon which wrecked the rice crop, first of all, and then wrecked infrastructure. So that was why people died. It had nothing to do with Winston Churchill whatsoever. In fact, he sent our own people over there at the height of the war, putting our own people at risk to alleviate the situation. So I think that this is a good news story because it's truth winning over lies. This is a piece of lumpen agitprop masquerading as cultural history. So I think that's good news as far as it goes, that truth has won the day. But we have to ask questions about how did this piece of art, in inverted commas, get into the National Portrait Gallery? Why have our institutions and our heritage sector been captured so thoroughly by these activists who absolutely hate us, hate our heritage, and want to rewrite our history in fundamentally untruthful ways?
It's interesting because there is some ambiguity around the Bengal famine. There are people who argue that Britain could have implemented export controls, for instance, that they could have kept more grain within India and instead trade flows continued. I mean, it's all sort of after the fact, in the middle of a war. It's difficult. I suppose that the worry is that when things look a bit unclear, people can connect dots that might not necessarily need be connected.
Yeah, I think there are two things here. There is the past and there is history, and they are fundamentally different things. OK, the past is the facts of what happened. We weren't there, so we don't really know what happened. We can look at documentation, we can infer, we can triangulate, we can construct historiographies. And if you are saying from the facts that are available, fundamentally wrong. The evidence doesn't support that at all. I agree that history is open to interpretation. That's what history is all about. We are constantly revisiting, rewriting, re-examining things in the light of new facts. But there aren't new facts here. This person isn't a historian. This person is an artist, and a politically motivated artist. I think to go slightly further than that, Tom, I think we need to look at how these artists which are all they're all the same. They're producing all the same kind of stuff. I think we have to say that this art is just not very good art. It's bad art for a start, because there's nothing original about it. If you look at this person who is straight from woke central casting, I could have told you precisely what the art was going to be, what the message was going to be. And it's this capture of the institutions that I'm really concerned about. And if we're looking forward, then I think we have to think about that and think about how we address that.
There is so much anti-British art. I mean, if you go to a gallery, it's just everywhere. Anyway, Philip Kisley, thank you very much indeed, Senior Fellow at the New Culture Forum. It's all sort of boring. You can just guess what it's about, you know, when you look at it.
Yeah, I think we need some more.
How bad we were.
I think we need some more statues to people from our history.
Oh, we know
and we
that's
need to
risky.
stop rotating the fourth plinth at Trafalgar Square with ridiculous plasticky things and get a good statue of the Queen there. How about that?
All right, we'll get our placards out.
Well, this is Good Afternoon Britain. Lots more to come after the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Widespread sunny skies are expected for many of us today. Hot as well, widely into the mid-30s, but it's not just about the temperatures, it's about the humidity, which will be extraordinarily high for the UK. High pressure currently sitting near the UK, helping this heat to build across many parts of the country. It's going to be a very warm day for Scotland and Northern Ireland, with sunny skies for many. Just some outbreaks of rain clearing the far north and northwest. 1 or 2 showers could pop up into the afternoon. However, for much of the UK, it's clear blue skies and temperatures rising quickly through the day. A hotter day compared with Monday. We're talking about fairly widely into mid-30s, up to 36, perhaps 37 in a spot or two. Scotland, though, for the far north and northwest, it's a cooler day compared with elsewhere. A lot more cloud here and some showers, 1 or 2 showers perhaps popping up for the south of Scotland. But here, temperatures into the mid-20s, so in some places it's certainly a warmer day compared with Monday. But we're not seeing those extreme values in Scotland and Northern Ireland that we're seeing across many parts of England and Wales. And like I say, it's not just about the daytime high temperatures, it's about the humidity, which means that overnight it's going to feel very oppressive. And in some ways that's more important because buildings will struggle to cool down. It'll be very difficult for sleeping. A lot of clear skies overnight, but widely temperatures staying at 22 or 23 Celsius for many parts of England and Wales. Fresher for Scotland and Northern Ireland, but still a warm start on Wednesday for many of us. It's going to be an even hotter day, certainly across many parts of England and Wales. A little cooler down the eastern coast of England, where we've got a breeze from the North Sea, so that's going to limit temperatures for eastern England, but further west across England and Wales, mid to possibly high 30s.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
from the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos, and it's the final week to see how you could win big in time for summer. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21. Just don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June.
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 1 o'clock on Tuesday, the 23rd of June. I'm Emily Carver.
And I'm Tom Harwood. Well, could Labour's leadership race be heading for a coronation or a contest? Well, with Andy Burnham the clear front-runner, senior Labour figures are considering whether to throw their own hats into the ring.
Well, the Prime Minister's official spokesman has just told us that civil servants will start talking with Andy Burnham, giving access talks as soon as possible. Well, they'll need to, won't they? Because he could be Prime Minister in just 3.5 weeks' time.
Yes, it's a race against time, isn't it? Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband, Peter Murrell, is jailed for more than 5 years after embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP to spend on cars, jewellery and other luxury items. We'll have the latest.
Elsewhere, rare red warnings. Try and say that 7 times very quickly. Rare red warnings. Goodness me. Red lorry, yellow lorry. Well, they're all issued as temperatures could hit 40 degrees Celsius this week. But overnight, there was heavy thunder and lightning in many parts of the country.
Yeah, in Bristol, a house was set on fire by lightning.
Now, this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance for us to take back control of this country. Can you hear me at the...
Yes, 10 years on after Brexit, Brussels postpones EU reset discussions as officials believe Andy Burnham will be a softer negotiator.
Right, OK. Well, a new battle over who controls the news you see online. Yes, believe it or not, Labour is considering plans to push BBC News and other, in quotes, trusted outlets higher up your social media feed.
Yes, the Three Lions take on Ghana tonight in Boston, as the England boss Thomas Tuchel says there are no injury concerns.
Oh, that's all right.
Phew, didn't think there were. Ahead of this big match for the World Cup.
Everyone is available. Everyone was in training. We had big influence from the substitutes, which we really appreciated, and just to prove how everyone buys into the idea.
Red weather warning. There we go. Got it.
Smashed it.
It's difficult to say.
It happened again in one of the later news items.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult.
Perhaps it's you this morning.
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe
Tom may or may not have been, out on the town last night, you see.
Oh,
I can't do that anymore.
Not really out on the town. I was having a couple of drinks in Parliament.
Well,
but
clearly it's affected your speech.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm only joking. Tom is very sensible.
Yes, always, forever and a day.
Always sensible.
As are, of course, England fans who are descending upon Boston, drinking the town dry. Apparently, when the Scots were in Boston, some bars literally ran out of booze, which I think is admirable.
Yeah. They're one step below the Irish, really, aren't they?
I think, it must be something in Celtic DNA. But who knows?
Well, I'm looking forward to the match, and we are most certainly going to win. Ghana isn't that good, is it?
Don't count your chickens, but yes, we are going to win.
Of course we're going to win. Of course we're going to win. But is Andy Burnham, going to win this? Well, at the moment there is no contest. So is he going to just be shoehorned into the position of Prime Minister very soon? Indeed,
crowned.
He's going to be crowned. Yes, coronated. Is that a word?
I think it's crowned in a coronation.
But it looks like. But it's very interesting. Keir Starmer already giving him access to the civil service. So presumably he'll have lots of meetings about how they're going to work together on his various policies, if he has any.
Yeah, people might remember the Boston tax revolt that ended up getting rid of the king for the 13 colonies of what became the United States. I'm tying the two stories together.
OK, go on then.
And yet...
Tie it in a ribbon, not a straggly piece of string.
And yet we are potentially now going to have a coronation for a new Prime Minister, someone who is known as King in the North. Perhaps it's time to make America Great Britain again.
Well, it looks like Darren Jones... Well, that would be nice. It looks like Darren Jones has bottled it already. So it's just Al Khan's, really, who there are rumours for.
These are the potential challengers.
Unless Angela Rayner decides, a woman's going to get the job, Mr Burnham.
Well, it seemed very male so far, but then again, every single Labour leadership contest does.
Well, yes. And Dan Hodges earlier, the columnist at the Daily Mail, saying that Burnham, because there's never been a female Prime Minister, he's going to give all the good jobs to the women around him. I mean, why? Why?
Well, more than half the Parliamentary Labour Party is female now.
Yeah, but just pick the person who's best, for goodness sake. You don't need to patronise the females in this country.
I don't know. I think clearly the markets were delighted that Rachel Reeves was appointed as Chancellor.
Oh, shut up. You're
on
not
the basis of her
Tom.
gender. And she's been a stonking success.
Stonking? Anyway, gbnews.com/your say. Would you like to see an all-female cabinet surrounding one man, the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham? Or would you not? Anyway, get in touch. And it is time for the headlines with Tatiana.
Thank you, Emily. Good afternoon. The top stories. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer told his cabinet today he'd seek to resolve difficult issues in the coming weeks to support his successor and make the transition of leadership as easy as possible, Downing Street says. Meanwhile, Andy Burnham is clinching ever closer to being crowned as leader of the Labour Party and the Prime Minister. The so-called King of the North could be handed the keys to number 10 in just 3 weeks. If Andy Burnham is successful in his bid to take over from Sir Keir, he'll be our 7th Prime Minister in just over 10 years. Opposition Assistant Whip Katie Lamb spoke to GB News Breakfast.
I think it's fascinating that the Labour Party is trying to portray Andy Burnham as this, fresh face, this new start. He was first elected as an MP in 2001. When Andy Burnham first came to Parliament, I was in primary school. He is an establishment Labour man through and through. He's going to inherit exactly the same group of MPs that supported all of Starmer's worst ideas and pushed him to go even further. There's no way that he can do a better job of running this country because the problem, in the end, is the Labour Party.
Reform UK leader Nigel Farage spoke to Christopher Hope about his thoughts on Andy Burnham.
Remember Boris Johnson as Mayor of London? Enormously popular. Andy Burnham, Mayor of Manchester, enormously popular. Why? Because mayors fulfil a civic role. They cut ribbons. They, host visiting film stars. Politicians have to take positions. We, at the moment, have almost no idea where this man stands on anything. He's flipped and flopped in the last month more than Keir Starmer has in the last 2 years. So, yes, it looks like a triumphant entry, but we'll see.
Peter Murrell has been sentenced to 5 years after he admitted to embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP. The party's former chief executive used the funds to buy goods ranging from cars to kitchenware and toiletries between 2010 and 2022. And among those purchases was also a motorhome worth almost £125,000, which was seized 3 years later from his mother's house with just 4 miles on the clock. Judge Lord Young says Murrell's actions amount to a significant breach of trust. An SNP spokesperson said that Murrell's jail sentence would offer significant closure to party members. A lawyer for former First Minister Nicola Sturgeon says she's been let down by her estranged husband and remains angry, hurt and distressed. Overnight storms in southeast England have caused floods, fires and also disruption to Heathrow's rail services. Pictures seen here show a fire starting on the roof of a house due to the lightning in Bristol. There were no injuries reported. In London, firefighters have taken about 400 calls and at least 2 house fires are suspected to have been triggered by lightning strikes. Meanwhile, the Met Office has issued a rare red warning for extreme heat for parts of England and Wales from 9 a.m. on Wednesday until 9 p.m. on Thursday. Several schools across England and Wales have announced they'll close or finish early to protect students against extreme heat later this week. A murder investigation has been launched after the body of a missing 14-year-old girl was found in South Wales. The teenager, named only as Lily by Gwent Police, was discovered in the Duthron Park area of Blaenau at around 10:10 on Monday evening. And England take on Ghana this evening in the World Cup. England fans have said they're allowing themselves to be optimistic for once ahead of that game. The Three Lions secured a statement 4-2 win over Croatia in Dallas in their tournament opener, leaving many fans confident of the team's chances in the tournament. England manager Thomas Tuchel spoke before the game.
Everyone is available. Everyone was in training. We had big influence from the substitutes, which we really appreciated, and it's just a proof how everyone buys into the idea.
These are the latest GB News headlines. For now, more from me in half an hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's now 10 minutes past 1. Now, is there anyone with the bottle to run against Andy Burnham?
Yes, Labour MPs, including former Armed Forces Minister Al Carnes and, I would say Darren Jones, but apparently he's already ruled himself out. Well, at least Al Carnes is reportedly now considering whether to throw his own hat into the ring.
People are suspecting there could be others. Could Angela Rayner be among them? Well, question marks. They've only got 3 weeks to decide, though. Otherwise, of course, it will be that coronation that Mr Burnham so dearly wants. He was only sworn into Parliament yesterday afternoon.
I mean, look at him there in that photo we've just shown. I mean, seriously, are these people serious people?
For taking a selfie?
Come on, look at that.
It's nice.
Sickening, Tom.
Why is that sickening?
Well, the Prime Minister has just resigned.
Yeah.
All of these people stood behind. Lots of them put out sycophantic little messages saying how Keir Starmer did this and that, was fantastic for the country, blah, blah, blah. We'll miss him dearly.
Yeah.
And then look at them, all crowding around Andy Burnham as if he's, some kind of messiah.
Hope and change. The king is dead, long live the king.
God, Tom, I'm a little bit more cynical than you are, aren't I? Maybe it's my age. Anyway.
I don't know. It is you are right. It is remarkable how quickly some of these people have gone from being dyed-in-the-wool Starmerites to suddenly, I've always been an Andy man.
Pick me, pick me. Can I be the Chancellor?
It's almost as if Andy Burnham is likely to have the power of patronage in only a matter of weeks.
Well, should we speak to Catherine Forster, who's been with the Prime Minister's spokesperson and joins us now. Catherine, a lot going on in the press. So there's a bit of a battle going on around this defence investment plan, isn't there? What exactly is happening?
Yes, well, it sounds like it is still going to be published before the NATO summit on the 7th of July, and we know that the Prime Minister is going to be going to that. But just on what Tom said, I was standing on a very hot Downing Street a couple of hours ago talking to somebody from Number 10, and there's a real feeling of sadness in that building, but, you know, they say they are accepting it. But it is exactly that. The King is dead. Long live the King, because Cabinet this morning, they all came in, I would suggest, as late as possible, because most of them were not there when the Prime Minister gave that pretty dignified resignation speech and was obviously quite upset at the end of it. Only David Lammy, Richard Hermer, one or two others. But at Andy Burnham's photo op, I was there and I've never seen anything like it. It was like he was a rock star, and I saw so many smiling and very happy, yes, Labour MPs, but also tons and tons of cabinet ministers, including Rachel Reeves, the Chancellor, who had been out for a 25-minute jog yesterday morning but hadn't stood there for the PM's speech. So the lobby briefing was really all about the transition. We hear that Andy Burnham wants to have a say in the defence investment plan, whether he might be able to find some more money. But everything we're hearing out of Number 10 is that nothing is changing. It's going to be published as originally planned, no matter what Andy Burnham wants. And they have said that the Prime Minister told Cabinet that he would seek to resolve difficulties in the coming weeks to support his successor. Now, we know that he has authorised access talks with the civil service to begin with candidates, whether they are officially candidates at this point or not. They wouldn't go really any further on that. But I said, well, if the Prime Minister is so supportive and wanting this orderly transition, why has he put forward a timetable of just 3.5 weeks when we know that Andy Burnham's team were hoping for him not to take over till September? Answer came there none. So despite the very this is all, you know, disappointing, but I accept this and he will have my full support, whoever takes over, outward message, I think underneath, of course, the Prime Minister is feeling very bruised indeed. And the attitude is, well, Andy Burnham, if you think you're so much better, yeah, come and take over. Let's see how you go.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure what's in the national interest, though. Whether there should be some time for Andy Burnham to get his ducks in a row, but I can see it from the Prime Minister's perspective, from Keir Starmer's perspective. Why should I? You wanted this. You've helped topple me. Go for it. You think you can do better than me?
And it is fair to say that Andy Burnham has wanted this for a very long time. I mean, Catherine, you and I were at Labour Party conference in September when Andy Burnham made, it seemed like massive missteps. He did this interview with the New Statesman. He was parading around sort of saying that he was going to oust the Prime Minister, and it became a bit of a laughingstock. I mean, he seemed like he was yesterday's man, just off his rocker at that conference, and everyone was laughing at him by the end of it. It looked like he'd absolutely, frankly, ballsed it all up. And now where are we? What, 7 months later, and he's the putative Prime Minister.
With the selfies.
It's incredible, isn't it? I remember that. It felt like he had totally blown it. I remember the press was sort of hunting him as he went to an event, and I found myself in a very small lift with him, and I've met him a few times. We've talked a lot about Northern Transport. He said hi, and I jokingly went, oh, you're the answer, apparently. He sort of laughed, and then I said something about King of the North, and I think he was a bit embarrassed, but his guy said, oh, we had a discussion, not with him, he didn't participate. Was it King in the North? Was it King of the North? Tom, I know you say it's King in the North. I think you're wrong, King of the North. But anyway, it felt like he had totally blown it. But if at first you don't succeed, try again. Of course, this is his third time trying to get the Labour leadership, and it's his third time. Well, he tried at conference, didn't he, to make his mark, went off with his tail between his legs, tried to run for Gorton and Denton, was blocked. But my goodness, in Makerfield, I mean, he got more votes than everybody else put together, and that is why I think Labour MPs just are so delighted to be seen with him.
Well, hopefully he finds a suit that fits him. I mean, yesterday he swearing into Parliament.
I don't think he wears suits all that often,
No,
but
clearly.
he will have to now.
He will have to.
In
He's gotta
Parliament,
wear
there's a dress code. I mean, you do have to wear a suit and tie.
Yeah, absolutely you do. Well, apparently next week he's actually going to set out some policies, a bit of a vision for us. So that'll be interesting to see if there's anything different at all from what Keir Starmer had for the country. But Catherine Forster, we'll leave it there for now because we're going to be speaking to a Labour MP in just 1 second who I believe is supportive of Andy Burnham. But in the meantime, it's time for the...
Great British Giveaway. Yes, it's the final week to see how you could win a massive £76,543.21. Every penny counts. It's all tax-free and it's all to spend this summer, or frankly, whenever you want to,
Invest
really.
it, maybe.
Oh, no, don't be silly. Buy yourself a nice camper van. Well, it's an incredible amount of money that could be yours, so make sure you don't miss out. Here's Hayley Sparks with all the details.
Time is ticking on your chance to win big this summer as there are just 3 days left to enter. There's an incredible £76,543.21 in tax-free cash to be won. Cash to spend however you like, which means you really could be enjoying the 5-star treatment this summer. Cheers! All that cash could take you on the trip of a lifetime or just enable you to relax in the knowledge that the rest of the year is on us. Make sure you don't miss out as lines close at 4 p.m. on Friday.
For a chance to win £76,543.21 in tax-free cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Well, there you go. Good luck. Shall we speak to the Labour MP for St Austell and Newquay, Noah Law? Noah, thank you very much indeed. Is Andy Burnham ready to be Prime Minister?
It certainly seems like it, doesn't it? He's obviously been gearing up to this point for a long time in various forms. He's come in, he's been sworn in as the MP for Makerfield, spent an awful lot of time on the ground there, making sure that he gets his...
I ask because apparently his team aren't best pleased that he could be Prime Minister in about 3 weeks, and they'd much rather Keir Starmer stayed in the job for a couple more months so that he can start in September.
I think the reality is that there's been a lot of preparation taking place in terms of getting those policy ideas in place, but at the same time we have a manifesto to deliver still, and that doesn't change regardless of who the leader is. So yes, there is scope to do things differently. Yes, there is scope to introduce new policy for sure, but I know that preparation, that groundwork is a long passion of Andy's. He's a thinker. He's someone that's brought forward a lot of new ideas and a new way of doing politics to Westminster.
Well, how much scope is there? Because, of course, famously, the manifesto on which you stood, on which all of your Labour colleagues stood and won Keir Starmer's Labour Party a handsome electoral victory, was a very thin manifesto. But it wasn't just a thin manifesto, it was a tight manifesto. It constrained what the Chancellor could do. More than half of all tax income was bound up in the 3 tax commitments that the manifesto made. Across different areas of policy, the government is very constrained by that document on which you stood. Very, very good for winning elections, perhaps less good for being able to govern the country.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair observation, Tom, and there are enormous constraints that we face, both the commitments that we've made, and it's important that we make those clear fiscal commitments up front. It's important that we carry those forward, but there's also a lot of external constraints, huge global disruption, challenges for the economy, things that we have to build greater resilience towards.
What's he going to do differently, though?
So I think as a starting point, to get away from the sort of macro of everything that's going on in the world for just a moment, Andy's politics is very rooted in the grassroots. That's absolutely clear to me, and it's incredibly refreshing to speak to him about the way that he does politics. That's going to require a rewiring of the way that Whitehall works. And to be brutally honest, coming in and seeing some of the ways in which Whitehall works, that very top-down model, the way that that can strangle growth, the way that it can shut local voices out, I totally get Andy's frustration with that. I feel that frustration for my constituents, for some of the growth industries in my area that need more support.
Well, so he's going to completely reimagine the civil service. He's going to shake that up massively, is he?
It definitely needs a shake-up. All of this stuff is going to take time to make sure that it's local people's voices, that grassroots voice, and including in the PLP as well.
What does that actually mean, though, Noel? What does that actually mean? He's going to, get locals together and decide our national tax policy? I mean, what does that actually mean? He's no longer the mayor of Manchester. He will be the Prime Minister of this country if he goes uncontested.
Yeah, I think, look, there's going to be different approaches required for different policy areas. I think, obviously, fiscal policy is one of those things where actually representative democracy plays a more important role. But what it does involve is listening to backbenchers like myself who have their finger on the pulse of what's going on locally in their local business community and getting those voices heard front and centre when the Treasury are making decisions. That's not how it's been for the past 2 years, and that's what you've seen in some of the pithy mistakes that have been made.
Do you think we're going to have even more sort of redistribution of wealth? More taxes on high earners, more taxes on properties. I know there's been a lot about council tax, for example. I mean, do you foresee that we're going to have more taxes in order to spend?
What I would like to see, ahead even of any ideas about redistribution, is more wealth creation for the working people of this country. Simple as that. Let's enable them to get back to work, to go out and do their jobs. And yes, that might involve re-looking at fiscal policy. Yes, we might have to put some taxes down, others up. I mean, the reality is we do need to look again at fiscal policy. But my absolute priority, and I know this is a priority for Andy as well, is rebuilding not just our public wealth, but that of working people as well.
Where would you see Andy Burnham? Where would you say he stands on the sort of left-right spectrum of Labour opinion? People have been painting him as a sort of someone of the soft left, but he's sounded a little bit more market-friendly in his dealings with business in Manchester. Where would you personally put him?
I think the argument is that you can do both. Those things are not mutually exclusive. One can be left and market friendly. There is such a thing, believe it or not. I know that things get shrunk down into a very simple didactic view of the world, but there is such a thing as doing business for social good. Andy's someone that understands that inside out.
Yeah, I mean, I do hope there are some people who've run a business in his cabinet. That might be nice. Noah Law, thank you very much indeed. Labour MP for St Austell and Newquay. You know, you have people who've studied politics at university, worked as special advisors, gone through politics, and think that they know how businesses work. It's a nonsense. If you haven't hired anyone and put, taken a risk yourself, how can you know?
Yeah, there does seem to be a lack of Labour MPs who have had that business experience. But there are lots and lots of Labour MPs who either previously worked for MPs or worked in the charitable sector or worked as lobbyists. And it seems that that's basically more than half the parliamentary party.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let us know your thoughts. Are you clearer on what Andy Burnham stands for from that conversation? This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
Yes, 10 years on from the vote to leave the EU. Are we better off or worse for leaving? We'll have that debate.
Yeah, it's going to be a fiery one. But after the break, overnight, yes, thunderstorms and lightning. It was spectacular, swept across parts of the country. But in Bristol, one home here was left ablaze after being struck by lightning.
Well, all of that and more to come with GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Dubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 28 minutes past 1 and temperatures are forecast to hit highs of 40 degrees in the south of England as Europe is struck by a heatwave today and tomorrow. Many people are stuck.
We are stuck in a heatwave, can't do anything about it. The Met Office had initially enforced amber alerts but then replaced them with red extreme heat warnings.
Well, overnight, parts of Britain were hit by spectacular thunderstorms.
That is a bit scary, doesn't it?
Yeah, it caused thousands of lightning strikes and flash flooding. I have to say, I saw more than my fair share of it, and it was relentless. Well, one lightning bolt even set fire to a house in Bristol.
More than your fair share?
Yeah, it just kept going. It was flash, 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 rolling thunder, flash, 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 flash.
Well, it's very exciting indeed, and you only thought for a few minutes that it was probably some crime taking place outside.
Yes.
But that is London for you. Should we speak to Jack Carson from Bristol? Jack, extraordinary scenes last night. I'm sure a lot of people didn't sleep very well because of the storms and the lightning, but not many of us were impacted in the way one family was in Bristol.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not too far from where several houses in the end had to be evacuated on a housing estate just outside Bristol after a lightning bolt struck the roof of one of them, causing a fire. The Avon Fire and Rescue Service, they said they were called around 5 to 6 yesterday evening. As viewers will be able to see on their screens now, the damage that it has caused the house. The roof has collapsed in on itself. Such was the blaze that fire crews were trying to tackle overnight. Lots of the upstairs seriously damaged. Speaking to somebody close to the family who own that house, they were telling me that they essentially have lost everything because of this lightning, this nature reaction to the extreme weather that we're getting yesterday, over the past couple of days, and into the next few days as well. The fire service said the cause of the fire is is thought to be because of that lightning strike on Monday night. And there was multiple crews from multiple fire stations in the local area who, when they arrived to a significant blaze. Thankfully, all of those inside the house were able to be evacuated, as well as several other houses around. And we've been on that scene, as you can see this morning, and those clean-up operations are underway. But it's not just houses being affected by this weather. Schools as well. Multiple school closures will be taking place over the next few days, particularly in parts of Wales. Announcements there that schools will close tomorrow from around 12:30 in order for pupils and staff to be able to get home before the temperatures peak. We could be looking possibly at breaking that 1976 temperature record of just over 40 degrees. It's the Cardiff High School said who would implement a partial closure from Wednesday and Thursday, with that school shutting. And of course, the weather over the next few days is going to be spectacularly scorching, but of course in the evenings difficult conditions for us to sleep in. Still incredibly humid. Last night the temperatures didn't drop anywhere in a lot of places below 20 degrees, causing what's called a tropical night. And of course we get this figure from the Met Office now that overnight we had 29,000 lightning strikes. Incredible pictures already posted across social media. But of course for one family it was tragedy, with their house suffering a catastrophic fire.
Very much indeed for your report there. We've been watching some spectacular images of some of the thunder and lightning. Quite dramatic, eh?
Yeah, you can really see why. Norse mythology, Greco-Roman mythology, they all had the king of the gods, whether it's Thor or Zeus or Jupiter, was always the one associated with thunder and lightning.
You're messing with us. Yeah. It's the hand of the gods. But we should say that it's not this hot everywhere in the country.
No, that's true.
A family in Scotland, it's just a temperate 20-odd degrees.
Actually,
21, 22.
I could really nice. Do with a temperate 22.
Yeah, I think it's probably raining in quite a few places as well. But anyway, if you are sweltering in the heat, I hope you sleep a bit better tonight.
But there's lots more coming up on today's programme.
Yes, it's been 10 years since Brexit. Are we better or worse for leaving the EU? We're going to debate that with two quite fiery guests, so stay tuned.
Well, all of that and more to come. You're with GB News, Britain's #1 news channel.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Widespread sunny skies are expected for many of us today. Hot as well, widely into the mid-30s, but it's not just about the temperatures, it's about the humidity, which will be extraordinarily high for the UK. High pressure currently sitting near the UK, helping this heat to build across many parts of the country. It's going to be a very warm day for Scotland and Northern Ireland, with sunny skies for many. Just some outbreaks of rain clearing the far north and northwest. 1 or 2 showers could pop up into the afternoon. However, for much of the UK, it's clear blue skies and temperatures rising quickly through the day. A hotter day compared with Monday. We're talking about fairly widely into mid-30s, up to 36, perhaps 37 in a spot or two. Scotland, though, for the far north and northwest, it's a cooler day compared with elsewhere. A lot more cloud here and some showers. 1 or 2 showers perhaps popping up for the south of Scotland, but here temperatures into the mid-20s, so in some places it's certainly a warmer day compared with Monday. But we're not seeing those extreme values in Scotland and Northern Ireland that we're seeing across many parts of England and Wales. And like I say, it's not just about the daytime high temperatures, it's about the humidity, which means that overnight it's going to feel very oppressive. And in some ways that's more important because buildings will struggle to cool down, very difficult for sleeping. A lot of clear skies overnight, but widely temperatures staying at 22 or 23 Celsius for many parts of England and Wales. Fresher for Scotland and Northern Ireland, but still a warm start on Wednesday for many of us. It's going to be an even hotter day, certainly across many parts of England and Wales. A little cooler down the eastern coast of England, where we've got a breeze from the North Sea, so that's going to limit temperatures for eastern England, but further west across England and Wales, mid to possibly high 30s.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News every week.
You're not only watching and listening to our programmes, you're becoming part of them too.
Good afternoon, this is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. The A83 is restricted at Loughnell Street, Loch Gilphead due to roadworks. In Sheffield, the M1 southbound exit slip at junction 35 has one lane closed due to a broken down vehicle, with normal conditions expected between 1:30 and 1:45 this afternoon. In Kent, the M25 anti-clockwise between junctions 3 and 2 is reduced to one lane due to a load spillage, with clearance expected around 2:30 this afternoon. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway and Thameslink services face major disruption between London St Pancras International and Bedford due to hot weather. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Well, it's time to mark the 10 years since Brexit, Tom.
Since the vote to leave, of course. Actually leaving took about 4 years later.
Yes, some say it hasn't really happened enough yet. But yes, 10 years ago today, celebrations did break out across the country. Quite a lot of surprise, too. Leave supporters marked a historic referendum victory and the start of, apparently, a new chapter for Britain.
Let June the 23rd go down in our history as our Independence Day!
Oh, that'll make a lot of Remainers squirm.
Well, since then, the country has, of course, left the European Union. We've also changed prime ministers 6 times. In fact, it took 2 prime ministers to actually get out, 3 prime ministers to get out of the European Union. We have, of course, remained divided over whether Brexit has delivered on its promises.
But Reform UK leader Nigel Farage says the UK never accepted Brexit. What does that mean?
Does he mean implemented it properly? I don't know.
Well, because we accepted it, didn't we? Maybe he means the establishment and never accepted Brexit.
Yeah, we should dig into that
We should dig into that, because it doesn't quite sound like him, does it?
Well, a decade later, are we better or worse for Brexit?
Well, joining us now to discuss this is the chair of the European movement, Mike Goldsworthy. Mike, looking back at those pictures of the jubilation from the likes of Nigel Farage, has Brexit been a success?
No, it hasn't. I remember that night, actually, because I was in the Remain camp watch room, and the head of the Remain campaign, Will Straw, came up to me, and he had some polls that he thought looked hopeful. But then as the night went on, people in the room just got more and more depressed about it. So 10 years on, ironically, a lot of what Brexiteers hoped would happen, trade up and immigration down, has actually happened in reverse, because trade has gone down and immigration has shot right up, particularly non-EU immigration. Well, almost exclusively non-EU immigration. And in terms of our freedoms, the idea of the offering was, once we get out of the EU's regulatory system, we can set a bespoke regulatory system for our businesses. And our businesses said, actually, we don't want that. And a lot of Leave campaigners said, oh, come on, you're just kidding, you don't want the fuss. When we get you out,
well, just on that,
then you can do it as you please. And
Mike,
come up with anything that actually our businesses want. So
well, it's clear that we have retained a lot of EU law, and that we haven't sort of stripped away a lot of the regulations that perhaps I would have liked to remove. The Habitats Directive, for instance, meaning we're building £125 million bat tunnels over HS2, or fish discos for Hinkley Point C. These have added huge expense to our infrastructure. Those would have been nice to go. But I would put it to you that we have avoided new regulations that the EU has passed. For instance, their AI Act, which if you talk to anyone in tech, they will say this is one of the big reasons why these AI companies are all choosing London as their European headquarters rather than Brussels or Paris or Dublin.
I actually talked to AI people around about the time of the Brexit vote, and they said, no, don't bring us out of the science programme and all of the shared infrastructure. We are, in Europe as a whole, behind where the States and China are, but there is a lot of native tech and comm structure that can build up. What needs to get linked up is the capital markets, because the single market is still actually quite young, but it's getting it together. I think London has always had a more liberal environment with better capital investment, but those that argue that the AI regulations are more restrictive are kind of overdoing it, because
OK, we'll leave it there. We're just going to have to bring in Henry Bolton now.
In social scoring that it's saying you have to declare. With everything else, it's permissive. So that really is red herring. It's more about the funding structures that need to get
OK, well, this is going to be a debate. So let's bring in Henry Bolton, who's the former UKIP leader. Henry, what do you have to say to Mike's arguments there? Immigration has shot up, particularly from non-EU countries, and trade is down, apparently.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, Brexit wasn't about a balance sheet. Brexit was about the principle that we should have the sovereign independence to make decisions ourselves, to exploit the opportunities that we have, and to confront the challenges that we have in the way that, in a bespoke manner that suits ourselves, that it is best serves the United Kingdom and the British people, while still collaborating with our friends and allies abroad on such things as AI and tech and so on and so forth. Nobody argued that we should not do that. But if we move away from the OBR, which I'm surprised Mike didn't quote it, the OBR forecast that Brexit would cost 4%. Well, that forecast, but just to mention, that forecast did not factor in the whole plethora of other costs associated with Brexit, such as, for example, defence, policing. One of the reasons that our defence budget is in such a mess at the moment is because the Lisbon Treaty created a framework of thinking in London that we should be relying on allies rather than ourselves in many areas of defence. We should be collaborating, coordinating, which we should, but it enabled in fact, it encouraged British politicians to think that we could cut back. Policing, the reason that we now have a situation where the Office of Constable has been undermined, basically turned into a human rights organisation. If you look at the oath of Constable, this was brought in the early 2000s by Tony Blair. This all marries with EU common policing standards. One of the reasons that this country is in the almighty mess that it is because its common law system was in conflict with the European codified law system. That was never addressed, and people like Mike paper over that we've got an intrinsically different legal and social and political culture as a result. And what we're seeing, mention there, Brexit, in terms of leaving the European Union, never failed. What failed was the national leadership post-Brexit, probably largely governments that Mike has voted for.
OK, Henry, let's let Mike come back on that point. Are our legal systems, our history, our culture just too different to the Europeans?
No. I mean, we are a European country, and that is our origins. If you go back hundreds of years, our royal family, our intellectual origins, England, more than any of the other countries of the British Isles, has been just integrated with Europe all the way through. And when you come to the modern age with things like defence and policing, of course you need cooperation. I mean, the notion at the moment that we should pull out of the ECHR... I
did not say we should not cooperate. I said the opposite.
OK.
So let's get...
Right, we should, because we need to...
I said the impact on common law policing has been devastating to the United Kingdom, of the impact of the common policing standards of the European Union, which are all based on codified law, not common law. That's what I said. I didn't say we shouldn't collaborate and cooperate on transnational organised crime. I am on record for many years saying that we have to collaborate and cooperate internationally on such things. So just correct that, Mike. Sorry.
OK, then let me ask you about the ECHR, which is the basis of human rights upon which we have in our trade agreements sharing PRUM data, there's Europol and Eurojust, all of these frameworks of collaboration, which you value, got trashed with Brexit. So with Brexit, we didn't just leave the EU, we also left the Single Market Customs Union, lots of science programs, Horizon, Galileo, but lots of justice and data sharing frameworks as well. Is that not damaging? Because I think that's incredibly damaging.
OK, last word to you, Henry, and then we've got to wrap things up.
It's only damaging because the European Union has been stubborn and is saying, no, we shouldn't collaborate because you don't tick this box. And that is a form of control and coercion over the United Kingdom that is simply unacceptable and flies in the face of the whole principle of Brexit, which was re-establish our own independent sovereignty and collaborate. It's the other party that doesn't want to collaborate on these things and puts obstacles in the way.
Gosh, I really wish we had more time to dive into the weeds
shrunk our
here.
sovereignty quite a lot
But we don't.
by the fact that we don't have any influence with the rest of our
OK,
continent.
Mike, we're going to have to end it there. We're running out of time. Mike Galsworthy and Henry Bolton, thank you very much indeed. The debate goes on, clearly.
Yeah.
10 years later.
Will it ever not? Will it ever not? Well, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more still to come.
Yes, tonight the Three Lions take on Ghana in the World Cup. Will England make it 2 wins out of 2? I hope so.
Well, if you're in search of some holiday sun, perhaps not quite as far as Boston or Ghana, here's the weather in Europe.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
The extreme heat at the moment is not confined to the UK. Many parts of Europe, especially France, seeing exceptionally high temperatures during the next few days. It's more typical temperatures for Greece, along with a few showers, but for Italy, we're up into the mid to high 30s, and across many parts of Spain. Into France, we're talking about the low 40s away from coastal parts. And here's the temperature trend for Paris, finally turning cooler by the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
But there's a huge amount of psychological evidence. There's lots of theories about when people make decisions and follow them with actions, their behaviour becomes consistent with the choice they made. So if you get married, you're more likely to see each other with rose-tinted spectacles, that kind of thing. The signal value of marriage is absolutely huge. I was talking to a young couple who are newly engaged just the other day, and they said it was amazing how it actually changed the way that they felt about their relationship. So it does provide extra security, and doing it in front of your friends makes a huge difference as well. It holds you to account. So there's a huge psychology behind the act of marriage. So it would be weird if there wasn't any effect at all. I found that your family background, so your age, your education, income, affects about half of your chance of staying together.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
The art world has lost its darling, probably the most respected, celebrated, influential artist of the 20th and 21st century. And as you say, you know, career spanning 7 decades, whether you're looking at his portraits or his Californian swimming pools or his spectacular Yorkshire landscapes, he made art for the people. You know, the art world can be a rather snobby place, which is unfortunate at times, but he made art for the people. If you think about the portraits, the people that he painted, whether it be Mr. and Mrs. Ossie Clark, the fashion designer, and Percy the cat, or Harry Styles, or a portrait of his carer.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, I'm going to try and explain what SpaceX is. It's set to become one of the most valuable companies in the world. But it's not just about rockets. Everyone will be aware. OK, well, it would be really nice if Elon Musk could could help us out with our tech here, because I'm trying to draw a rocket and we're not able to. What is going on? I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm afraid our very own. Let's see. No, we're not. I'll try and explain what's going on with SpaceX without any visual aids. How disappointing! It's 3 companies really. It's a rocket company, it's a communications company, and it's an AI company, all in one. It controls 84% of the commercial launch market in this country.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. I hope you've got the popcorn out. I hope you've got your beers by your side. You're sitting down ready, because there's just over 7 hours to go until England's second game in the World Cup.
Oh, and potentially there are some people, you know, gearing up already.
7 hours early.
Having the first pint of the day.
Well, Goodness
Maybe.
me. England will qualify for the next stage if they beat Ghana in Boston, as, fingers crossed, they're expected to do. Well, GB News presenter Ben Leo has been getting into the mood.
He's lucky to be out there at a time like this.
The best job.
Yeah, very good job indeed. We're joined by sports broadcaster and journalist Aidan McGee. Aidan, thank you very much indeed. So, are the odds looking good? Is it looking good for England tonight?
Well, I'll make a confession first of all. I had a shandy about an hour ago. Okay.
Did you really?
I'll just put that out. Yeah, I did. I had it with my lunch. It was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was zero sugar lemonade as well. In terms of tonight, yeah, the odds are looking good. I think England will win 3-0. If you're asking me for a prediction.
3-0. Okay.
The incentive is huge because it means that they've only got Panama in the last game, which shouldn't be too difficult an assignment. But if they win tonight, get the 6 points in the bag and therefore secure qualification, they can possibly rest players in the final game, and that's quite important because of the heat and the other challenges that they're facing over there. Having said that, you probably need to win all games if you want to win the group, in which case you might get an advantage over that because in theory you'll face the second team in another group, which in theory would be the weaker team, but it doesn't always work out like that. But in terms of the personnel tonight, I think that we'll possibly see Mark Gurhey going back into the centre of defence alongside Esri Concert, which we thought it would be to start with. And on the left-hand side, I think we might just see a place for Marcus Rashford at the expense of Anthony Gordon, but we'll see.
What do you make of how Tuchel's been playing this? A much more team game, so it's said, rather than the sort of star players or star highlights that we've seen in tournaments past?
Yeah, that's a good point, Tom, because I always felt that in the so-called golden generation of 2006, John Terry, Ashley Cole, David Beckham, Steven Gerrard, Wayne Rooney and so forth, it was individuals. It wasn't a team collective. And sometimes you have to make big decisions by leaving out big players who would ordinarily be in the side, but they maybe have to be sacrificed for the sake of the team. And I think that what that's allowed England to do is the players know where they stand. And we saw a much more expansive and entertaining and much more dynamic style of football in the first game. I wouldn't have predicted that England were going to score 4 goals against Croatia. OK, the quid pro quo might be that the defence is a little bit weaker. They conceded 2 goals, which you might not have expected either. But as a neutral, and if football's looking to get even more new eyes on the sport, which it doesn't really need, but it's nice to kind of keep your position at the top of the sporting pyramid as solid as possible, but you want entertaining football. If neutrals are going to be watching, they'd rather see 6 goals than just see 1, which we probably would have seen under Gareth Southgate.
Apparently everyone watching is going to be warned to pay their BBC licence fee tonight.
Yeah, they've been doing that already. Yeah, they have. I'm a buy-to-let landlord, so I pay the licence fee several times over.
OK, well, we won't report you to the feds then. Aidan McGee, thank you very much. Well, it's in Boston.
Yes, I suppose, but they wouldn't be enforcing the licence fee. Boston, and also Bostonians historically have not really played ball when it comes to international law.
No. Well, we do, so look out for that warning. Apparently the commentators are going to also be saying, oi, have you paid your licence fee? You have to watch this, guys.
Goodness knows, the BBC needs it.
Well, yes, it does. They're making huge redundancies. Pardon?
Will you be watching?
Of course I'll be watching, yes.
Fantastic.
Although I also have another programme to watch at 9 o'clock.
Oh dear, yes, that is unfortunate.
Patrick Christie's tonight. Have both on the go. Both on the go.
Dual screen it.
Dual screen.
Yeah.
That's what your laptop's for.
Good afternoon, Britain on GB News. Lots more to come after the weather.
Today, clouds overhead, total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Metalvis for GB News. Widespread sunny skies and high temperatures out there through the rest of today. Low to mid-30s widely across southern parts of the country, but with the risk of thunderstorms mainly towards the north of the UK. We've got a weather front just pushing into the north and northwest of Scotland. That's bringing some extra cloud here and some showery rain. Otherwise, it's widely hot and sunny out there with temperatures, like I say, peaking in the mid-30s, late afternoon, early evening, before a very warm night under clear skies with light winds and high humidities. We'll see temperatures staying at 22, 23 Celsius in places. That's going to be very uncomfortable for sleeping. And it's It's the high humidities that are the greatest cause for concern, really, over the next few days, because it's not just about how high daytime temperatures go, it's about how much moisture there is in the atmosphere and how that affects our ability to cool down by sweating. Now, the north and west of Scotland, as well as Northern Ireland, seeing a lot of cloud as we start off Wednesday with outbreaks of rain in the far northwest. The rest of the UK, it's dry, it's sunny, and those temperatures very quickly rising through the morning. We're starting with the low to mid-20s, and they'll certainly reach higher heights than that by the time we get to the afternoon. And an extreme heat warning, a red warning in force across parts of central and southern England, central and east Wales, because widespread sunny skies, temperatures rising. We're expecting widely the mid and in some places the high 30s by the afternoon. So these are exceptionally high temperatures, and combined with the humidity and combined with the fact that there's very little cooling at night, just means that we ourselves and our buildings are just going to struggle to cool down over the next few days, and that could cause all sorts of impacts. Heat of the peak on Thursday, but another hot day in the east on Friday before it's cooler everywhere this weekend.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Box Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello from the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos, and it's the final week to see how you could win big in time for summer. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21. Just don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June.
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition, from 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
From cold mornings
to warm family brunches.
From football to tennis in the car.
In the kitchen.
GB News Breakfast is there. With the stories you need and the conversations that matter.
Anyway, let's talk business.
Well, it has been a historic night in British politics.
It's astonishing, isn't it?
We're here again to start your day just right. GB News Breakfast.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 2 o'clock on Tuesday, the 23rd of June. I'm Tom Harwood.
And I'm Emily Carver. Well, could Labour's leadership race be heading for a coronation or a contest? With Andy Burnham the clear front runner, senior Labour figures are still considering whether to throw their own hats into the ring.
Elsewhere, Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband, Peter Murrell, is jailed for more than 5 years after embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP to spend on fancy cars, jewellery and very, very expensive salt and pepper shakers. We'll have the very latest.
Well, Peter Murrell has said he will pay back that £400,000 to the SNP in what the judge here has described as a calculated crime of dishonesty. Reacting to the sentence this afternoon, the First Minister, John Swinney, has said this whole saga has left him in agony.
Well, yes, rare red warnings are issued as temperatures could hit 40 degrees Celsius this week, but overnight there was dramatic thunder and lightning. Yes, in Bristol, a house was even set on fire. Anna Riley is out basking in the sunshine, though.
Yes, we're here in Skegness in Lincolnshire, where people are soaking up the sunshine. It comes as today could be the hottest June on record, with temperatures set to exceed 35 degrees.
Elsewhere, a new battle over who controls the news you see online. Well, the government is considering plans to push BBC News and other quote-unquote trusted outlets higher up your social media feed.
And thousands of British expats living in European hotspots like the Costa del Sol are still claiming UK-funded disability benefits. The grift goes on, eh?
We'll have all the details on that one.
Yeah, these plans, actually, that the government are looking at are quite chilling. Why on earth should the government decide what news you see first when you go on your phone?
It's so micromanaging. I mean, the government tries to pretend that they want this country to be a good place for investment, for business.
Yeah.
And then they try and tell a private company not just what they can do, but what must appear in people's social media feeds. I mean, that sort of nannying micromanagement is
Tom,
exactly why this part of the world doesn't get the tech investment.
This is for our own good. We can't be trusted with misinformation or disinformation, whatever the difference is. We need to make sure that the government has decided that what we're reading is pure fact, accurate.
I mean, it is actually such an invasion, if you come to think about it. Could you imagine any government saying, OK, you buy a newspaper, but it must have some government-approved news in it, or just historically pamphlets as they were, distributed in the 18th century. Well, halfway down your pamphlet, you have to have a government-approved message in it. It's the sort of stuff of Pravda. It's the sort of stuff you'd expect of the Soviet Union. And yet, seriously, we have politicians saying government-approved news agencies must be pushed through into your social media feed.
Do you reckon GBNews is going to be on the list of their approved ones?
Of course it won't.
We're hearing that it's Channel 4, ITV and BBC News. I mean, seriously? If I want to follow, also separately, if I want to follow some lunatic, conspiracy theory-laden accounts, I should be free to do so.
You'd be ill-advised to do so, but I suppose in a free country you should be allowed to.
The government shouldn't decide.
I think people do see their news feeds as something quite personal as well. You choose who you follow.
Exactly.
You don't expect the government to then say, you're reading the wrong things, here's what you must
Maybe
read.
you'll be chucked down the algorithm.
If anything, this could massively backfire. If you have someone who's conspiratorially minded and then the government comes along and says, don't read that,
yeah,
they're going to read it all the more.
Well, anyway, I think this is outrageous. We'll get stuck into it. gbnews.com/your say. The government deciding what news you see. Anyway, it's the headlines with Tatiana.
Thank you very much and good afternoon. The top stories. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer told his cabinet he would seek to resolve difficult issues in the coming weeks to support his successor and make the transition of leadership as easy as possible, Downing Street says. Meanwhile, Andy Burnham is inching ever closer to being crowned as leader of the Labour Party and the Prime Minister. The so-called King of the North could be handed the keys to number 10 in just 3 weeks. If Andy Burnham is successful in his bid to take over from Sir Keir Starmer, he'll be our 7th Prime Minister in just over 10 years. Opposition Assistant Whip Katie Lamb spoke to GB News.
I think it's fascinating that the Labour Party is trying to portray Andy Burnham as this, fresh face, this new start. He was first elected as an MP in 2001. When Andy Burnham first came to Parliament, I was in primary school. He is an establishment Labour man through and through. He's going to inherit exactly the same group of MPs that supported all of Starmer's worst ideas and pushed him to go even further. There's no way that he can do a better job of running this country, because the problem, in the end, is the Labour Party.
Reform UK leader Nigel Farage spoke to Christopher Hope about his thoughts on Andy Burnham.
Remember Boris Johnson as Mayor of London? Enormously popular. Andy Burnham, Mayor of Manchester, enormously popular. Why? Because mayors fulfil a civic role. They cut ribbons. They, host visiting film stars. Politicians have to take positions. We at the moment have almost no idea where this man stands on anything. He's flipped and flopped in the last month more than Keir Starmer has in the last 2 years. So, yes, it looks like a triumphant entry, but we'll see.
In other news, Peter Murrell has been sentenced to 5 years after he admitted to embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP. The party's former chief executive used the funds to buy goods ranging from cars to kitchenware and toiletries between 2010 and 2022. And among the purchases was a motorhome worth almost £125,000, which was seized 3 years later from his mother's house with just 4 miles on the clock. Judge Lord Young says Murrell's actions amounted to a significant breach of trust. An SNP spokesperson says that Mr Murrell's jail sentence would offer significant closure to party members. A lawyer for former First Minister Nicola Sturgeon says she's been let down by her estranged husband and remains angry, hurt and distressed. In other news, overnight storms in southeast England have caused floods, fires and disruption to Heathrow's rail services. Pictures seen here show a fire starting on the roof of a house due to the lightning in Bristol. There were no injuries. In London, firefighters have taken about 400 calls and at least 2 house fires are suspected to have been triggered by lightning strikes. Meanwhile, the Met Office has issued a rare red warning for extreme heat for parts of England and Wales from 9 a.m. on Wednesday until 9 p.m. on Thursday. Several schools across England and Wales have announced they will close or finish early to protect students against extreme heat later this week. A murder investigation has been launched after the body of a missing 14-year-old girl was found in South Wales. The teenager, named only as Lily by Gwent Police, was discovered in the Duthrin Park area of Blaenau at around 10:10 on Monday evening. And England take on Ghana tonight in the World Cup. England fans saying they're allowing themselves to be optimistic for once ahead of that game. The Three Lions secured a statement 4-2 victory over Croatia in Dallas in their tournament opener, leaving many fans confident of the team's chances in the competition. England manager Thomas Tuchel spoke before the game.
Everyone is available. Everyone was in training. We had big influence from the substitutes, which we really appreciated, and it's just a proof how everyone buys into the idea.
Those are the latest headlines for now. More from me in half an hour.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's 9 minutes past 2. Now, is there anyone at all with the bottle to run against Andy Burnham?
Doesn't seem like it, really, at this stage. Anyway, there is one Labour MP who I think might, and that's Al Khan's.
Yes, the former Defence Minister.
The former, yes, Armed Forces Minister.
And yet, he was only elected 2 years ago as an MP. He's only been an MP for less than 2 years. Yes, he had a glittering career in the army. He's the most decorated politician in a very long time. But he's only been in Parliament for 2 years.
And all the women in the Labour Party just waiting for a cabinet job. I mean, why are none of them putting their hat in the ring?
More than
Where's
half.
Angela Rayner? Where's Shabana Mahmood? Where's Rachel Reeves?
Shabana Mahmood was actually asked about this, and her response was the first rule of politics is learn to count. And she looked at some of the polling of how she does amongst Labour members and thought maybe that's the time to retreat from that particular ambition.
Well, that's the sort of wise attitude that might make her a good Prime Minister, Tom.
Well, there you go, but she'd have to get over the Labour electorate, and that's never going to happen.
She would, but, you know, the people are saying, oh, Labour has never elected a female Prime Minister. Well, they're not throwing their names in the ring.
It's not just that. They haven't elected... It's not just that they haven't elected a female leader, it's that in every contest that has ever happened, every single man has finished ahead of every single woman. So, in 2020, it was Starmer versus Rebecca Long-Bailey. In 2015, it was Corbyn, then Burnham, then Cooper, then Kendall. So the two men came on top and the two women underneath. And in every single leadership election, it's always been the men are all... No woman has ever finished above a man in a Labour leadership contest.
Well, does Labour have a woman problem? Should we put that to Cameron Forster, our chief political correspondent?
Or indeed Catherine Forster.
What did I say?
Cameron.
Cameron Forster? Sorry,
We've merged
Catherine.
our political and royal correspondence.
Sorry, I've just changed your gender live on air. You have not had a sex change. Catherine Forster, does Labour have a women problem? Why are there no women throwing their names in the ring?
Yes, I think it absolutely does. The Conservatives have had 3 female leaders and Labour not a one. It's worth saying that the Prime Minister, the current Prime Minister, not the coming Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, has also repeatedly been accused of having a woman problem, and number 10 being a boys' club. I think that is set to change under Andy Burnham, because if you look at the team around him, as he said last week on his speech the day after he won that incredible victory in Makerfield, northern powerhouse women that he wouldn't mess with, and neither should you, was what he said. People like Annalise Midgley, like Louise Haigh, all these women behind the scenes. So, but the Labour Party in general, yes, absolutely. I was talking to a female cabinet minister last week who was making a joke about this, but quite a wry joke, really, because the reason I think that no woman is going to throw a hat into the ring against Andy Burnham, despite the fact that there are Labour women saying that some woman should, is A, as Tom's just said, first rule of politics, you've got to be able to count. But also, I think, let's say hypothetically that Al Carnes does put his name in. He's only been an MP for less than 2 years. How many women would have that level of confidence to think that they can come from being an MP for 2 years to actually running the country? Not that many, I would suggest.
Not. Catherine, thank you very much indeed. We'll speak to you later. But we've got Trevor Kavanagh on the line now, the former political editor of The Sun newspaper. Trevor, thank you very much. You're known for your strong opinions. What do you make of what we're seeing right now? Do you think that Andy Burnham is just going to saunter into this job and no one's going to even bother contesting him?
I think if he does, he'll be sauntering into the lion's den. The public is already beginning to wonder what the hell he thinks he's doing. Who does he think he is? Simply demanding the job as Prime Minister, and what are his credentials? I think Katie Lamb hit the nail on the head a few moments ago when she said that basically he was just a refurbished old political hack who was in Parliament at the time when she was still in primary school. So he isn't a fresh face. And the latest opinion polls seem to show that Labour and Burnham himself has made a terrible mistake here. According to the latest YouGov poll, Reform has gone up a point to 25. This is over the last 48 hours as all of this began to unfold. The Tories are up 1 on 20 and Labour are languishing 1 down on 18. So this is backfired, I think. And, you know, the clunky party that Keir Starmer has led to ruin is bumping along the runway, and I think it'll still be on the runway when it finishes at the end of the trying to take off. It just isn't working.
Well, I suppose watch this space. Trevor, I'm afraid we're going to have to leave it there, but thanks very much indeed for joining us. Trevor Kavanagh, of course, former political editor of The Sun.
Yes, let's speak to Trevor again soon. But
yes.
Yeah, good news. GBNews Breakfast has been nominated for Best News Programme for the 4th year running.
Yes, GBNews presenters are currently arriving at the awards show, and GBNews entertainment editor Alex Davies is there for us. Alex, what's the atmosphere like?
Ellie and Alex.
It's going very well. It's very warm, but the atmosphere is upbeat and everybody's in great spirits. Now, the Trick Awards are nearly 100 years old, but for the last few years, there's been one news programme that's dominated the news category like none other, and it's GB News Breakfast. And I'm here with Ellie Costello and Alex Armstrong, who are up for another award this year. Guys, how are we?
Good afternoon. Alex. Yeah, we're good. We're excited.
Yeah, and how are you? This is going to be 4 on the trot, you know.
Well, we hope so. Yeah. We hope so.
Fingers crossed, I think it's in there. But what message would you just like to say? Because this one's voted for by the public.
Yes.
And it's all down to the viewers. What message have you got for those guys?
Well, we've got the best viewers in the world, haven't we? The most loyal viewers, the best viewers. And, of course, they've supported Breakfast for so many years with Ellie and all the other members of Breakfast. And, you know, we can't do it without them.
Yeah, I think we are unique, GB News, in the way that our viewers are really central to everything that we do. So, you know, with our GB Views at gbnews.com, we're always reading off the comments. We have viewers on all the time to talk to us about our stories. I think we are the only place that actually has our viewers front and centre. So it's so nice to have something back in a Trick Award when they recognise, you know, the hard work that we try and do every single year. So please God, 4 years on the trot would be great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, 4 years on the trot. And what sort of message do you think that sends to the rest of the establishment media?
Well, I think GB News Breakfast is unbeaten right now, isn't it? We are the #1 breakfast news channel in the country, and I think that's just not just a testament to the amazing work that our team do, because there's so much work that goes on behind the scenes to make breakfast happen, the producers, the directors, everything, but also to the people that watch us, because they're the ones that make us #1. And I think it's sent the shivers up the establishment spine in the last few years.
Absolutely, and you've been filling in, deputising very well, may I say, philosophy?
He's been doing a great job. Yeah, we love having him as part of the breakfast family.
He's done amazing. How are you finding the early mornings?
Yeah, it's a bit...
How are you finding the early mornings?
yeah, it's a bit challenging. I think I look a lot more tired in the mornings than I do in the evenings. But, you know, it's great. It's such a lovely show to do. We cover such an array of topics in the morning. And what a way to start your day, talking about the biggest issues facing our country and doing it so differently to everyone else. Obviously, the shoes I'm trying to fill are impossible to fill, but I hope I'm doing the best I can, and I hope the GB News audience are enjoying it.
He's doing great, isn't he, Alex?
He is doing such a great job. Yeah, he is. I think the alarms take something to get used to, don't they?
They do.
But it's just
I wouldn't
so
be able to do it
nice.
without you, obviously, Ali. You know, she has been my rock throughout all of this. She's incredible.
Well, it's been so lovely to get to know Alex as well, because where he's obviously on Prime and late night, I didn't get to see very much of you. Sometimes on pay-per-views, but not really. So it's been really lovely to have you as part of the family.
And most importantly, obviously, we're in the middle of a heatwave. How are you both coping with this?
Well, I'm not coping.
I'm
not coping. This outfit was planned long before the heatwave. I am struggling.
Well, you both look amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time. And best of luck. You know. So there you have it, guys. GB News Breakfast up for yet another award at the Trick Awards. Fingers crossed we can make it 4 years running.
Fantastic stuff. What a feat. What an achievement that would be. Well, Alex Davies, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah, it's not to be superficial, but don't they both look very fantastic, very handsome, very beautiful standing there?
Which one's which?
Well, Ellie and Alex.
No, the handsome and the beautiful.
Well, either. I think the beautiful is Ellie, of course.
Yeah, OK, well, we've got some serious breaking news now. Emergency services are dealing with a major incident following reports of a bus crash. Now, police have said.
Yes, Dufford Powys, police confirmed the collision took place in the coastal town of Kidwelly in Carmarthenshire.
Well, a police spokesperson said emergency services are on scene and members of the public are asked to stay away from the area until further notice.
Yes, as ever, we'll bring you more details as we hear them. But in other news, it's a bad day for Nicola Sturgeon's estranged husband, Peter Murrell. He's been sentenced to 5 years and 3 months in prison after he admitted to embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP.
Well, the party's former chief executive used the funds to buy goods ranging from cars to kitchenware to very, very expensive salt and pepper shakers.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. $2,000, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just absolutely mind-boggling. Well, it all occurred between 2010 and 2022.
Yeah, what an abuse. Anyway, joining us now is GB News national reporter Will Godley. Will, we don't have an idea of the motive here, do we? I mean, we can just suppose it must have been greed.
Well, that is a big question. Why did he do this? Why did he steal £400,000 from the party that he was chief executive of? That is a question we still don't know the answer to. There has been some reaction from politicians here in Scotland to this sentence today. In the last half an hour, we've heard from Swinney, who has said this whole Peter Murrell scandal has been distressing, hurtful and agony for him. He also said he wouldn't visit him in prison and also refused to say whether he would forgive him. We've also this afternoon had some reaction from Nicola Sturgeon's lawyer, of course, the estranged wife to Peter Murrell. In a statement, Nicola Sturgeon's lawyer said Ms Sturgeon remains angry, hurt and distressed about the devastating impact of Mr Murrell's actions on her, his family, friends and the SNP. It's clear that following a 2-year gold-plated and robust investigation, Ms Sturgeon was neither charged, prosecuted nor convicted of any offence. Ms Sturgeon is innocent of any crime, her lawyer says in a statement today. The same, though, can't be said for her estranged husband, Peter Murrell, today sentenced to 5 years and 3 months for embezzling £400,000 from the SNP over a 12-year period from 2010 to 2022. And on that list of what he bought with the money, it goes from mundane £8 spatulas to the obscene £124,000 motorhome and everything in between as well, from cars, salt and pepper shakers that cost £2,500, a £3,000 robotic lawnmower and a £2,500 coffee machine as well. And as you say, Emily, the big question is, why did he do all of this? Well, that's something we're not entirely sure. It's something the police have wanted to know right from when they started interviewing him 2 years ago, and today they released a little snippet of their interview with him.
Amount over £19,000 is exclusively of pens alone. It's quite frankly an outrageous amount of money to be spending on pens.
Well, Peter Murrell has said he will pay back the £400,000. We don't know whether that's going to go to the SNP or to the donors themselves. Of course, many who have said they feel angry and betrayed as a result of his actions. Today, the judge described Peter Murrell's embezzlement as a calculated crime of dishonesty and said this sentence is a deterrent sentence to deter anybody else from carrying out any similar crimes, describing it as a significant breach of trust, and that he was able to circumvent checks and balances to prevent any of this from happening. Of course, something that has not only left donors angry and betrayed, but many here in Scotland with a significant lack of trust in the political system.
Lovely, thank you very much indeed, our national reporter there in Edinburgh. I mean, I've got here, what could it be, the motive? Greed? Shopping addiction, the thrill of getting away with it for a bit, sense of entitlement, just a common thief? What?
I think he just wanted expensive things, and this was a way that seemingly no one was checking.
But it was really random expensive things. That's the thing. It's almost like he couldn't help himself. Not that it's not him at fault, obviously, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he seems to really like the most expensive pens that you can possibly buy.
Yeah, and he would buy things for other people. He bought things for Nicola Sturgeon.
And of course, she denies that she knew anything about it.
She knew nothing, Tom. Nothing about
her
that
house
camper van.
despite the fancy cars and the coffee machines and the robotic lawnmower, whatever one of those is.
She was very, very sad when she realised she was wearing this necklace.
Right.
That was bought with this stolen money.
I mean, she knew what her
Tragedy.
husband earned. She was the leader of the SNP. He was the chief executive of the SNP. She saw her house littered with fancy things and never once thought that anything was slightly awry.
But they didn't go on holidays and things, you see. Anyway, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Lots more coming up on today's show.
Yes, a new battle over who controls the news you see online. Labour's considering plans to push BBC News and other quote-unquote trusted outlets higher up your social media feed.
But after the break, thousands of British expats living in European hotspots are still claiming UK-funded disability benefits. Why on earth is that allowed to happen? All of that and more to come. You're GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's coming up to 2:30. Now, thousands of British expats are still claiming disability benefits, despite not living in the country. This costs taxpayers over £10 million a year.
Yeah, I think this is a bit cheeky, to be honest. Currently, more than 2,000 British expats are still eligible for taxpayer-funded PIP payments, despite some living in villas and holiday resorts in countries such as Spain, Italy, Portugal and France.
I like that, PIP payments, because it's, of course, personal independent payments. It's a bit like saying ATM machine, automatic transfer machine.
All right, I'll just say PIP.
or personal independence payments.
Smarty pants over here.
Well,
anyway, did you know it's an increase of 86% since before the COVID pandemic?
I did actually, because it's
here.
written right there.
No, that just came into my head. Anyway, joining us now is the Grassroots Development Manager at the Taxpayers Alliance, Benjamin Elks. What do you think about this then, Benjamin, the Costa del Dole?
Good afternoon, Tom and Emily. I think it's absolutely outrageous that British taxpayers are being expected to fund disability and PIP payments to Brits overseas, when to the tune of £10 million a year. This is absolutely madness. We're seeing a massive surge in claims for PIP payments, both at home and abroad, apparently. Up 86%, as you say, overseas. Since the beginning of 2019, PIP claims have actually doubled in the UK to almost 4 million. So this is an absolutely extraordinary number. And to find that the British taxpayers are funding people who are living, as you say, sort of in Spain and Portugal and France and Italy and these lovely sunny destinations, I think is going to really stick in the craw for British taxpayers.
We are quite cunning, apparently, at Disneyland Paris. I was reading this earlier in the week. Apparently, people with disabilities from this country are wearing the lanyards, so they get to go to the front of the priority queue. Apparently, it's full of Brits, these priority queues, because you can just wear lanyards saying, I have an invisible disability, and you get to go to the front of the queue.
Yeah, we've seen the exact same thing here at home with these extraordinary discounts being offered by some public attractions, often taxpayer-subsidised attractions, who are giving massive discounts to people claiming universal credit. And yet, for the hardworking taxpayers who go out, do the right thing, get up, go to work, pay their taxes, there are no such benefits for them. There are no such subsidies for going to attractions, sometimes having spent hundreds of pounds to take the kids out for the day. So I think there's a real matter of fairness here. We've seen these claims surge post-COVID, particularly once the face-to-face assessments were removed. As I say, the numbers have doubled for PIP payments to almost 4 million. It's completely unsustainable and completely unacceptable.
Now, Benjamin, I'm going to try and steelman the case in favour of spending millions upon millions of pounds on people that don't even live in the country. These are, of course, British citizens. Yes. British citizens who the state has determined to be disabled and has promised them to pay them money to make their life sort of more on par with people who the state doesn't consider to be disabled. They might say, why should the payments stop just because they decide to move somewhere else?
And it's a reasonable point to make, but fundamentally, if you look at the things that people are claiming for nowadays, I think a lot of people will wonder whether that's really something we ought to be compensating them for. We now have, I think it's about 500,000 people receiving PIP for anxiety. We have successful claims for things like tennis elbow, for acne, even for bedwetting. So, a number of these things they require medical treatment, they need support, but whether we should really be sort of paying people disability benefits, I think a lot of people will wonder whether that's a correct use of taxpayers' money.
OK, Benjamin Elks, thank you very much indeed. You're from the Taxpayers Alliance. So let us know at home if you disagree. Perhaps you're one of the people who are out in the Costa del Sol and are still receiving PIP payments.
In which case, get back to Britain. It's just as sunny here, especially this week. Well, we should say a Department for Work and Pensions spokesman has said this.
Only a very small number of PIP claimants are currently living abroad. We're fixing the broken system we inherited, creating a welfare state that works for disabled people and taxpayers, and we've launched the TIMS review to make sure PIP is fit and fair for the future.
Well, apologies if you might have incorrectly seen a photo of the BBC just now. To make it clear, this story is not linked at all to the broadcaster.
OK, well, moving on. This is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. We've got lots more coming up on today's show, but first, let's get to the latest news headlines.
Good afternoon. The top stories: a murder investigation's been launched after the body of a missing 14-year-old girl was found in South Wales. The teenager, named only as Lily by Gwent Police, was discovered in the Dunthrin Park area of Blaena at around 10:10 yesterday evening. Elsewhere, Peter Murrell is sentenced to 5 years after he admitted to embezzling more than £400,000 from the SNP. The party's former chief executive used the funds to buy goods ranging from cars to kitchenware and toiletries between 2010 and 2022. Overnight storms in southeast England have caused floods, fires and also disruption to Heathrow's rail services. Pictures seen here show a fire starting on the roof of a house due to the lightning in Bristol. Meanwhile, the Met Office has issued a rare red warning for extreme heat for parts of England and Wales from 9 a.m. tomorrow until 9 p.m. on Thursday. And England take on Ghana in the World Cup tonight. England fans saying they're allowing themselves to be optimistic for once ahead of the game. The Three Lions secured a statement 4-2 win over Croatia and Dallas in their tournament opener, leaving many fans confident of the team's chances in the competition. Those are the latest headlines for now. More from me at 3 o'clock.
Tune in to GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB Digital Radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Well, lots more coming up on today's programme.
Were you waiting for me to speak there?
Yeah.
A new battle over who controls the news you see online. This is enraging, actually. Labour is considering a plan to push BBC News and other trusted outlets, in their opinion, higher up your social media feed. So you'll be allowed to see the BBC, ITV, Channel 4 News right at the top of your feed. Is that state control gone mad?
Well, all of that and more to come here with GB News, Britain's #1 news channel for now.
Hi there and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Widespread sunny skies are expected for many of us today. Hot as well, widely into the mid-30s, but it's not just about the temperatures, it's about the humidity, which will be extraordinarily high for the UK. High pressure currently sitting near the UK, helping this heat to build across many parts of the country. It's going to be a very warm day for Scotland and Northern Ireland, with sunny skies for many. Just some outbreaks of rain clearing the far north and northwest. 1 or 2 showers could pop up into the afternoon. However, for much of the UK, it's clear blue skies and temperatures rising quickly through the day. A hotter day compared with Monday. We're talking about fairly widely into mid-30s, up to 36, perhaps 37 in a spot or two. Scotland, though, for the far north and northwest, it's a cooler day compared with elsewhere. A lot more cloud here and some showers. 1 or 2 showers perhaps popping up for the south of Scotland. But here, temperatures into the mid-20s. So in some places, it's certainly a warmer day compared with Monday. But we're not seeing those extreme values in Scotland and Northern Ireland that we're seeing across many parts of England and Wales. And like I say, it's not just about the daytime high temperatures, it's about the humidity, which means that overnight it's going to feel very oppressive. And in some ways that's more important because buildings will struggle to cool down. It's very difficult for sleeping. A lot of clear skies overnight, but widely temperatures staying at 22 or 23 Celsius for many parts of England and Wales. Fresher for Scotland and Northern Ireland, but still a warm start on Wednesday for many of us. It's going to be an even hotter day, certainly across many parts of England and Wales. A little cooler down the eastern coast of England, where we've got a breeze from the North Sea, so that's going to limit temperatures for eastern England, but further west across England and Wales, mid to possibly high 30s.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good afternoon. This is the latest AI travel news from GBNews.com. On the M8 westbound, the on-slip at Junction 9 remains closed for roadworks, with a diversion in place. Congestion persists northbound on the A4232 near Capel-Lanilturn. Lane closures occur in Lincolnshire due to a broken-down vehicle northbound on the A1, between junctions with the A151 and A607, clearing later today. On the M25 anti-clockwise in Kent, a load spillage between junctions 3 and 2 has closed one lane. And on the trains, major disruption continues between London St Pancras International and Bedford on East Midlands Railway, with hot weather affecting journeys. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Well, 2:37 is the time. Now, the government is planning to intervene to enforce BBC News promotion on social media to apparently preserve trusted and accurate journalism, all in a bid to fight misinformation.
Well, the Culture Secretary claimed it was vital that regulated public service media is seen and heard by the British people, and that publicly funded organisations such as the BBC, ITV, as well as publicly owned organisations like Channel 4 should be given prominence over commercial and biased sources.
Oh my God. Joining us now is Head of Lifestyle Economics at the Institute of Economic Affairs, Christopher Snowdon. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it now, Chris. This is surely almost with a part to pure censorship.
Yeah, I think you could say that. I mean, it's a kind of a crazy idea, I think, but it's so obviously biased to one particular source of news, and that, of course, is the problem with having governments deciding what we see and listen to. I don't trust the government to distinguish misinformation from correct information. I don't trust in their judgment, and I think if we need a free market anywhere, and we need lots of them, of course, but there's nowhere more important than having a free market in information.
Well, why does the government think that misinformation is such a modern and newfangled thing? I mean, the Victorian newspapers were completely flooded with competing claims. But the way that things worked out was that people developed trusted brands and those brands would lose in terms of market share and custom if they repeatedly told lies.
Yeah, I think there's a kind of a moral panic about misinformation, disinformation, largely coming from politicians who dislike social media, basically because people are mean to them, and politicians of every party seem determined to suppress social media as much as they can. This is a halfway house that they think they can stamp out some of the more objectionable forms of social media as far as they're concerned. I don't think it's possible to police this or even to create legislation for it, actually. I think this is yet another example of politicians sitting down, thinking about something that would be a nice to have from their perspective and saying, well, we'll just, we'll say we're going to do this, we'll commit to it in a green paper and then let somebody else work out the details. It's a bad idea, even in principle, I think, actually. The BBC, I've got no particular problem with the BBC, but even BBC Verify gets constantly corrected. I don't think there's a massive problem with disinformation on social media any more than there is in the House of Commons.
Well, also, if I want to read it, I should be able to. even if it is a pile of nonsense, you know? I should learn to discern myself rather than have the government do it for me. But apparently they're trying to Ofcom the newspapers as well. That's another plan. So to regulate the newspapers as much as they do, or in the same way, a similar way to how they do with broadcast media. So that's fun, something for the newspapers to contend with. But do you think this is all about social cohesion issues? We've seen rioting, we've seen quite a lot of racial, ethnic tensions, religious tensions in this country, and the government desperately wants to try and put the lid on all of it.
Maybe, but you're shooting the messenger. Insofar as we've got racial divisions or rioting and so on, obviously we have had in recent years. I don't think this is down to misinformation or disinformation. I think this is just basically the government's inability to control the borders and thereby letting an unacceptably large number of murderers and rapists, and people respond to the actual news. I think people are getting angry about reading that on the BBC and on Channel 4 News. And the fact that there are some agitators out there who exaggerate or make things up in certain instances, I don't think has been a big problem. I know there's been a number of people who've been given the most draconian punishments for it, Lucy Connolly most obviously. But I mean, quite honestly, I use Twitter a lot. And of course, there is all sorts of misinformation out there. But I think the community notes system is actually really effective in debunking a lot of this and dissuading people from doing much more of it.
And for those who don't use Twitter, the community notes system is when people who are signed up to it can sort of add a little note to a post on Twitter to sort of correct it if it's false. And different people of different opinions have to agree on that note for it to appear.
That's right, and it's a democratic system. The community notes are nearly always accurate, and the community notes do not just apply to randoms on Twitter who are trying to stir up hatred and division. I see the World Health Organization get community notes all the time for its misinformation about vaping, which is a reminder that a lot of these august organisations are just as bad at creating disinformation than randoms.
And I'm sure Lisa Nandy, the Culture Secretary, has probably been community noted in her time. Christopher Snowdon, thank you very much for your time. Head of Lifestyle Economics at the Free Market think tank, the Institute of Economic Affairs.
Well, a spokesperson for the BBC said, in an increasingly polarised world where mis and disinformation are rife, it's essential everyone has the opportunity to access trustworthy news. It's also important that homegrown original content is protected and easy for people to find. People are changing how and where they consume content at pace.
Oh, my God, it's like we're little tiny children who have to be protected from what the government doesn't want us to see. It's actually outrageous. It's so Orwellian.
We're all living in the longhouse.
Yeah.
Well, it's time for the Great British Giveaway now, and it's the final week to see how you could win a massive £76,543.21. That's 76543221. It's all tax-free, and it's for you to spend either this summer or, frankly, whenever you want to spend it. Here's Hayley Sparks with the details.
Time is ticking on your chance to win big this summer, as there are just 3 days left to enter. There's an incredible £76,543.21 in tax-free cash to be won. Cash to spend however you like, which means you really could be enjoying the 5-star treatment this summer. Cheers! All that cash could take you on the trip of a lifetime, or just enable you to relax in the knowledge that the rest of the year is on us. Make sure you don't miss out, as lines close at 4 p.m. on Friday.
For a chance to win £76,543.21 in tax-free cash, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. Well, this is Good Afternoon Britain on GB News. Plenty more still to come.
Yes, it's a scorcher outside in large parts of the country. We're going to be live at the beach.
Well, if you're in search of some holiday sun, go to Portsmouth or, I don't know, Skegness. I mean, try Blackpool. But if you'd like to go a little bit further, here's the weather in Europe.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
The extreme heat at the moment is not confined to the UK. Many parts of Europe, especially France, seeing exceptionally high temperatures during the next few days. It's more typical temperatures for Greece, along with a few showers, but for Italy, we're up into the mid to high 30s, and across many parts of Spain. Into France, we're talking about the low 40s away from coastal parts. And here's the temperature trend for Paris, finally turning cooler by the weekend.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
I'm Michael Portillo. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
As we know, in a democracy, you're free to choose how you want to celebrate. And this is right on brand for Donald Trump. He loves to be a big spectacle with any celebration he does. He wants it to be big. He wants it to grab headlines. And clearly right now he wants to show strength. So it's a tactical decision as well. As we know, there's a very unpopular war going on with Iran, and he's hoping to announce a deal tonight, which would be the greatest birthday gift he could get, because we do need a deal. But it's only Donald Trump who would choose to do this. A lot of the people who follow UFC voted for him, and he's being tactical ahead of midterm elections, trying to show strength.
GB News, the People's Channel. Nana Akua, weekends from 3 p.m.
5 years ago, from today, I got to meet my absolute hero, Nigel Farage, and rub shoulders with Dan Wootton and Andrew Neil, the latter being particularly grumpy. He was less than impressed as well when the sound failed during his first broadcast. The lighting was dreadful. I looked mouldy, and at one point I was practically invisible during a breakfast show because of a black backdrop behind me. I was little more than eyes and teeth. We faced obstacle after obstacle, including Stop Funding Hate, an activist group that set about trying to destroy us before we'd even broadcast a single second. Advertisers were frightened off, and hostility towards the channel was actively encouraged, which was deeply ironic. But still, we persisted. If anything, it made us more creative and more resilient.
GB News, the People's Channel. Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
Ian McKellen is helping relaunch the Yard Theatre up in Hackney, which reopens this summer, with a new purpose-built 200 capacity auditorium. Tiny, but he'll be doing a brand new version of King Lear. Up in Scotland, Alan Cumming has taken over the Pitlochry Festival. And I just want people to know that all these small theatres, number one, it's not such a big risk. Ticket prices are £30, £35, £40, top price. And you can find less than that. So you can take a risk, but you'll go along and you'll experience something. You'll be part of something. And I am a huge fan of what we get in the West End. It's world class, but it is a lot of money. And it's sometimes just a little bit predictable or complacent or safe, I would say. Not always, but sometimes.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Good afternoon, Britain. It's coming up to 10 to 3. And in case you hadn't noticed, with your terrible night's sleep and incessant sweating, temperatures are forecast to hit highs of 40 degrees Celsius in the south of England, as Europe is struck by a heatwave both today and tomorrow.
Yes, the Met Office had initially enforced amber alerts, but then replaced them with these red extreme heat warnings. And overnight, parts of Britain were hit by absolutely massive thunderstorms.
Well, joining us now is our national reporter, Anna Riley. Anna, where are you?
Good afternoon to you both. I'm in Skegness in Lincolnshire, where people are soaking up the sun, and it's set to be the hottest June day on record today. It's set to exceed 35.6 degrees Celsius, and that was the record that was set in June in 1976 in Southampton. So let's see if it'll get warmer here today. Certainly people are enjoying the sunshine. You can just see out to the beach here, people having ice creams, fish and chips, beer, slushies, and enjoying the weather. But there are red and amber warnings for extreme heat that have been issued, with temperatures surging potentially beyond 40 degrees in parts of the country later this week. That rare red warning for extreme heat does indicate that there's a risk to life, and that covers parts of central and southern England and Wales, and that's coming into force tomorrow and on Thursday. And with that, the UK Health and Security Agency has also put in red health alerts as well. And as you mentioned, overnight storms in southeast England caused floods, fires and disruption to rail services. In London as well, firefighters took about 400 calls, and at least 2 house fires are suspected to have been triggered by these lightning strikes. And with the weather as well, around 312 schools are being closed or partially closed this week due to those hot temperatures that we're getting. But if you can enjoy the sun, why not? We've been speaking to people along the coast about the sunshine. This is what they told us.
Bring it on, more the better.
It's a feel-good factor. It's just the best thing.
It's nice, but it gets a bit much. When it gets 80 plus, it takes your breath away, doesn't it?
Love it. Love it. As long as you've got your cream on, you're all right. You can't get vexed at the seaside when it's hot. Up north's always best. Can't get vexed up north.
So that's what people there, you know, up north, you can't get vexed, can you? So certainly enjoy the sunshine if you can. With that red weather warning, though, it's very rare. It's only happened once before, and it has got that risk to life. Here where we are at the moment in Skegness, there's currently an amber weather warning in place as well for extreme heat. And along with enjoying it, of course, it's a great boost, isn't it, for businesses? The sunshine does us a lot of good, but people are being warned, especially when they're going out to sea as well, if they're cooling down, you know, in pools, canals, outside, just to be careful, because in the last heat wave there were 19 deaths, including 13 children in May as well. So do be careful if you're going out there enjoying the weather, and be safe in the water as well.
Fantastic stuff. Anna Riley, thank you very much indeed for being there in Skegness. Hope you get yourself a cool beverage soon enough, or an ice cream.
Oh, absolutely.
So are you going to be enjoying the warmth after the show today?
No.
What
am I doing? I've got a dinner to go to indoors.
Oh, it's indoors. What a shame. Well, it's Martin up next, and he'll bring us through to 6 o'clock, and then it's the football.
Certainly is. Come on, England. And Martin's after the weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello again and welcome to the latest update from the Met Office for GB News. Widespread sunny skies and high temperatures out there through the rest of today. Low to mid-30s widely across southern parts of the country, but with the risk of thunderstorms mainly towards the north of the UK. We've got a weather front just pushing into the north and northwest of Scotland. That's bringing some extra cloud here and some showery rain. Otherwise, it's widely hot and sunny out there with temperatures, like I say, peaking in the mid-30s, late afternoon, early evening, before a very warm night under clear skies with light winds and high humidities. We'll see temperatures staying at 22, 23 Celsius in places. That's going to be very uncomfortable for sleeping. And it's the high humidities that are the greatest cause for concern really over the next few days, because it's not just about how high daytime temperatures go, it's about how much moisture there is in the atmosphere and how that affects our ability to cool down by sweating. Now, the north and west of Scotland as well as Northern Ireland seeing a lot of cloud as we start off Wednesday with outbreaks of rain in the far northwest. The rest of the UK, it's dry, it's sunny, and those temperatures very quickly rising through the morning. We're starting with the low to mid-20s, and they'll certainly reach higher heights than that by the time we get to the afternoon. And an extreme heat warning, a red warning in force across parts of central and southern England, central and east Wales, because widespread sunny skies, temperatures rising. We're expecting widely the mid and in some places the high 30s by the afternoon. So these are exceptionally high temperatures, And combined with the humidity and combined with the fact that there's very little cooling at night, just means that we ourselves and our buildings are just going to struggle to cool down over the next few days, and that could cause all sorts of impacts. Heat of the peak on Thursday, but another hot day in the east on Friday before it's cooler everywhere this weekend.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello from the Imperial Island Resort in Paphos, and it's the final week to see how you could win big in time for summer. Someone has to win our stunning cash prize of £76,543.21. Just don't miss out as lines close on the 26th of June.
For a chance to win, text cash to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB21 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 26th of June. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live